Live stream where we do it live. Oh, I gotta check this out. There we go. All right, we're live. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Thanks for checking out the Pineys, books 1 through 18. As always, speaking of the Pineys, I had an event today. I was at JEVS for the special needs guys. They were very nice. Had some pretzels. Oh, I got some soft pretzels in the kitchen. I'm going to have them later after the show. What else did I do? The Williamstown thing didn't happen. I'm not sure why. I think I'm going to find out on Monday what happened. Hopefully we can reschedule, or I don't know, maybe it's supposed to happen Monday. I hope not, because I got a doctor's appointment on Monday, so we'll see what happens there. Friday, we're going backwards in time. I was at the night market in Bridgeton. That went very well for me. And then I did 2 events before that, Wednesday and Thursday. They were both at senior centers, pretty locally in South Jersey. So it was a big week. A big week. Made a little money, sold some books. Next up for me is Thursday. I'll be in James T. Room. That's in Haddon Heights from 7 to 9 with tea with the Jersey Devils. So it'll be a little girly, but come on out anyway. Then Saturday, I'll be at the New Jersey Folk Festival. And if that goes well, and it actually happens on that day, we don't get knocked out by the hurricane, the rain date is Sunday. But otherwise, I'll be back in Bridgeton for the second day of Peach Fest. And I got to shoot them an email. Oh, let's see. We've already got a comment here. It's Indie Phantom is back. What's up, Tony? I've been MIA because visiting relatives on summer vacay. 1 week left unless the Air Canada strike continues. I had no idea there was an Air Canada strike. What are they striking over? I don't understand. Isn't your country diverse enough? JEC is here. Hi. Indie Phantom saw weapons, very good, I hear. Nobody 2, not very good. Now I'm surprised. The trailer looks great. It had a solid premise. It looked like a really violent version of Vacation. But then again, Sharon Stone was the weak link in that chain in the trailer for me. Indie Phantom, sorry, flight attendants? Flight attendants. They don't fly the plane. I think I can open my own soda. I'm pretty sure I can. Oh, we don't have flight attendants? Oh, you mean I have to get up and go to the fridge myself and get a cold drink? Yeah, I think I could handle that. Although for all the money you pay for a friggin' flight, who would want to? Indie Phantom 4 Air Canada. Now, is that a company or is that all your planes? Is that like one particular company, or is that national for you guys? Do you only have one airline? I don't know. Indie Phantom trailer was great, violence good, but Sharon Stone and just the foolishness of the script. That's a shame. Yeah, I think most people are going to stream that one anyway. I don't think anybody was in a rush to see Nobody 2. You know? I mean, it's so overdone, but that's a shame. Indie Phantom, yeah, but planes aren't flying. AC is just a company. There are others, but most international stuff on AC. That's weird, because when we say AC in South Jersey, we're talking about Atlantic City. When you say it, you're talking about Air Canada. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's no good. Then again, flying is about as good as sitting in a movie theater these days. Used to be flying was like a big deal. I went on a flight once that was a big deal. When I was working for Kenzer Co., they booked me on a flight, and apparently the Kleenex company had corporate jets, and they were allowing people to book flights on them because they didn't use them enough. So I ended up on this flight for Kleenex, and they're all first class. So they served us wine and dinner. It was really nice. I felt that was like the last vestiges of fanciness in an airline, at least for me. Indie Phantom, it reminds me of Beverly Hills Cop 3 with the theme park and vacation aspect, yet not nearly as good. Wow. Jesus, I did not like Beverly Hills Cop 3, and you're telling me it wasn't even as good as that? Yeah, that's no bueno. Well, maybe Bob Odenkirk should go back to comedy. Indie Phantom, I fly for work, so it will be a headache until this S is revolved, but I'm enjoying it because the liberal government showing incompetence again. Yeah, I remember what that was like. And now we have Trump. And it's amazing. The difference is amazing. And then it's funny to talk to people who have TDS because they're like, oh, the country's really going down the tubes. And you just look at them like, what? Because the borders are secure? Like, the gas went down and I can buy eggs again? What part of that don't you like? Like, what part of it is like, oh, the country's going to hell. We're losing our democracy. And I'm just like, I'm going to make an omelet. And I'll drive my car while I'm doing it. Indie Phantom, Nobody 2 is definitely going for high camp comedy. I don't remember the first one being quite that slapsticky. It's not. I thought the first one was kind of okay, but like, like these movies, it's already a cliche to have the character like, oh, he was an assassin and he killed people, and then he decided he wanted a nice life, and then he went to the suburbs and he got married and he had 2 kids and blah blah blah. It's like, it's such a cliche now. So the first movie was kind of like that. There wasn't really much to it beyond that. And then like somebody breaks into his house, and rather than fight back, he lets the guy rob him, basically. And then, like, his son is about to take out the robber, and Odenkirk is like, nah, don't do that. And, but then he feels emasculated, and then he decides to go completely in the opposite direction. Like, there was absolutely no middle ground in that movie. Indie Phantom, different director this time. Guy mostly known for VHS movies. He's doing the sequel to The Beekeeper now. Interesting. Yeah, I think you probably should have kept the first guy, or had Bob Odenkirk punch up the script and really make it funny. I don't understand how sometimes you can get such talented people in a movie and their talent isn't allowed to, flourish, right? Bob Odenkirk worked on The Simpsons when it was top notch. And he also did the sketch show with David Cross. So this guy is a comedy, he's got comedy creds out the wazoo. Then he's in Better Call Saul, which is a pretty good show. I mean, it was okay. I didn't watch it to the end yet. I one of these days I'll binge it, but it's a really good show. He was good in it. And now he's doing this Nobody thing. Like, who wouldn't take his lead? Who wouldn't say, why wouldn't Bob Odenkirk get the script and go, well, this is pretty funny, but let me make this suggestion, that suggestion, blah, blah, blah. Like, why wouldn't he do that? Like, why wouldn't you want him to do that? Why wouldn't you say to the screenwriter, well, we got Bob Odenkirk working on this thing. I want him to be happy with the script. Let's talk to him about, like, punching it up. Why wouldn't you do that? You're telling me Bob Odenkirk couldn't punch up that script? Indie Phantom, Sharon Stone is in her Catwoman mode. Christopher Lloyd wasted as a silly grandpa who pulls out a Gatling gun. Whole family can basically fight like Odenkirk now? That's weird, because that didn't seem to be the situation in the first movie. Now, if you're going to get that absurdist, I prefer Crank. The Crank movies, you know, the first movie is ridiculous, but it's like over the top and it's fun. But then the second movie, you can watch the movie unravel in the third act. It just completely unravels. It's just bonkers. Doesn't make any sense by the end. And I was perfectly fine with it. So, yeah. That all being said, I'm still sort of glad they made this movie because at least they're trying to go for a lighter thing, but you need a guy like me to write a script like that. I thrive in that script environment. But I would have said to Bob Odenkirk, Mr. Odenkirk, hey, why don't you punch it up? Indie Phantom love the Cranks. This is soft comparatively. It's a shame. It was kind of on my list, but oh well. Weapons is definitely on my list now, though. But I got to tell you, I've had such terrible, terrible theater experiences, and we've talked about that many times. I just don't want to go back to the theater anymore. I don't think I can. I really can't. I would much rather pay $20 the moment it hits streaming, and most movies are about $20-$25 when they hit streaming. Watch it in a nice air-conditioned house with a snack and pausing for bathroom breaks or whatever I want, and I will totally wait until I can do that. From now on, I'm not going back to the theater until something is done. Now, there was a recent announcement that they're cutting back on the previews, like 3 or 4 minutes. That's an improvement. I like that. I think they need to do more. I think they should at minimum, cut it down to 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes before a preview, and that's it. Indie Phantom Weapons is pretty solid. It looks cool. Everybody's loving it. I haven't heard a negative comment about it yet. But then now they're talking sequel and prequel. Slow down. Let's just let me see this thing first. But yeah, I get it. Oh my God, we actually made a movie that worked. Quick, make 5 more of them. But yeah, the Indie Phantom trailer for Jaws was awesome. They're bringing back Remastered on August 29th. Well, yeah, it's Jaws. I remember the trailer for Jaws. To this day, I'm not really interested in going in the ocean. That's part of the reason why. It's not the total reason. I'm more worried about the medical waste that washed up on the Jersey Shore back in the 80s. Ardent is here. Hello. Hello, Ardent. But like that's kind of cool. Like that's an event, right? When they replay the trailer from Jaws, that's kind of fun. But you know, just playing every trailer in the theater, I think they need to cut it back. Maybe they need to make trailers that are 30 seconds long, like TV commercials, and just cut them to nothing and put them in the theater that way. Ardent, sorry I'm late. I was busy letting my mother think I couldn't beat her at Scrabble. Nice. Nice of her. Nice of you to let her win. All right. Well, let's get into the box office and see what's going on. Indie Phantom, for the record, it's a new trailer for the 50th anniversary. Right, but I mean, it must be, you know, it's the same footage. It's just remastered. Sam Rogers is here. Good morning. Good morning to you, sir. You're just in time to get started. All right, number 1 for the second week in a row is Weapons, making $25 million. Not a tremendous amount of money in the summer, but pretty damn good for a horror movie. It's on $148 million for a $38 million production budget. That's how you make a movie, guys. That's how you make a movie. Sure, you can cut that down to half. And what do you got there? Oh, you got $74 million. Yep, that's profit. It's profit. That is in the black. And it will continue to make money the rest of the month. Number 2 is Freakier Friday. Holding fast at number 2. $14 million. 14.5. Both these movies only dropped. Weapons dropped by 43. Freakier Friday dropped by 49. Both these movies have legs. Why? Well, Weapons apparently is just awesome. And Freakier Friday, there was a big fan base for this. Ardent Lowe's Sam, good gods, 50 years of Jaws. F, I'm old. So, Freakier Friday is $86 million for a $42 million budget. It's getting there. Basically, that's money. Basically. Now, number 3 is the first new movie. That's Nobody 2. $9.2 million. And a lot of mixed reviews on this. Indie Phantom, yeah, same here, Ardent. And not doing well overseas, 4.9. Indie Phantom, I didn't even see Jaws theatrically, though. Oh, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. What does Nobody 2 have to do? It's at $25 million? That seems like a bargain. But it looks like it's going to struggle to make its money back. Jeez. So next week, maybe it makes 7. Week after that, another 3. So add the week in between to both of them, 2 weeks in between. Maybe you're at 34 million, something like that. That's not great. Not great. I think this is done, but I think they're already talking about a sequel. Ardent, upside, 50th Star Wars is coming up. Downside, Disney. Well, the rumor was they were re-releasing the original cut of Star Wars. But no one's sure if it's the original or the original with changes, so too many cuts. Number 4, Indie Phantom. Nobody 2 has a former student of mine. Cheap-ass Canadian locations. Shot mostly in Winnipeg. Not where you want to set a holiday flick. Winnipeg? Man, they must have really cheaped out on that movie. No offense. When you want to save money on a production, you go to Canada. Because the Canadian government will give you massive tax credits as long as you follow their formula to use Canadian talent. So the formula works like this. You have to garner so many points. Each production member is worth points depending on their status. Like the director's worth more points than, say, the gaffer. Because me and my friend were trying to get financing, and part of our financing plan, we had a budget of like $3 million for our movie. This was a few years ago, and we believed we could get about, I think we were like 3.2 million, and I think we believed we could get back almost 2 million. And basically, the movie would cost about $1 million. But we figured we could, make money even if it just released in Canada, because what we were planning on was selling the American distribution rights, which is one of the things you do, and then holding on to some of the overseas rights, which would include Canada, and then going back to Canada and saying, hey, we made this movie here, go see it. Because you can't make a tremendous amount of money in Canada, but I think the highest grossing movie just in Canada was Good Cop, Bond Cop at the time. And that's like a cop team up thing. And like the numbers were super low. I want to say it only made like $9 million. And I was like, $9 million? Like, we could make a better movie than Bond Cop, Good Cop, Bond Cop. But we couldn't get the financing together. So if they had $25 million budget, I bet they got at least half their money back, or maybe like a good chunk, maybe like 10. And that's a big offset. And then on top of that, you know, the money you make. So, Ardent, nobody ended up being a sleeper, so the second should have been expected to be the same. The absolute original cut would be awesome. Winnipeg, does he spend half the movie shooting mosquitoes and black flies? There's a lot of insects in Winnipeg. I've never been there. It's a buddy cop movie which plays a bit on the language barrier in Quebec. Yeah. It's very Canadian, or it's meant to be. And so our movie didn't have something that's very Canadian in it, but it didn't have, like, it was the sort of movie that it didn't matter where it took place. And people could imagine it took place in Canada. I mean, we were going to shoot most of it in Canada. And then, you know, you could have implied it was anywhere, really. Yeah. So if they shot it in Winnipeg, that's probably why. They used to shoot X-Files in Vancouver to save money. It's just too expensive to shoot things here. Part of the reason is, you know, if you're going to shoot a street scene, the union rules basically means you're going to have to shut down the whole damn street for God knows how long. It's going to be an S-ton of people and equipment and power and oh man, the permits are ridiculous. So it's funny because I've worked with a lot of small budget, you know, or not really small budget. You would call them like shoestring budgets. You know, local guys shooting their own movie. Those guys can shoot on the streets just about anywhere, because what they're going to do is they're not going to get a permit and they're going to go to an area that they know, probably in the daytime, and say, okay, let's shoot this before anybody comes. And they'll shoot a quick scene and then they'll just leave before, you know, anybody calls the cops or anything. And if you're like far enough away from the, you know, middle of the action, odds are you'll be fine. And I've done that many, many times. But if you have a big production and you're going to do it the official way with union and stuff, it just becomes so friggin' expensive. And that's part of the problem with these movies, and that's why they go overseas. That's why they go all the way they were going all the way to Romania to shoot movies. And these were low budget monster movies. They'd go all the F away to Romania just so they could use Romanian crew members and pay them. They wouldn't pay them nothing, but they would pay them like American money in Romania goes farther. And then on top of that, they wouldn't pay them all that much, my understanding. And then, you know, you save a fortune. You got to pay a union guy to do anything. It's ridiculous. Especially like if you got a lot of extras. All those guys, you know, when Sylvester Stallone shoots a Rocky movie in Philadelphia and he asks people to come down to be in the movie, he's trying to save himself some money. But like when he pays extras, I mean, each one of those extras might get, what is it, like $375 a day? And if you got like 100 people, that's a lot of money to blow on just people who are standing around in the background of things. Ardent, I'd love to shoot a fantasy pirate movie here in Newfoundland, but the timing would be a bastard between the weather and the fishing seasons. Well, that's why they shoot stuff like that in locations where they can essentially control the weather. See, you want to shoot a fantasy pirate movie during a time, you know, in an area where you have water, obviously, and then, but nothing ever happens there. And then if there's a storm, you just create the storm. And then the storm will start and stop when you want it. If you go to a place that already has stormy weather and you got to shoot a regular scene, good luck. That was a big problem on Apocalypse Now. I believe they built the sets the first time, and then a monsoon came in and flattened them, and they had to rebuild them all. So stuff like that can happen. That's why they shoot in the desert in LA, the weather's nice. So if you want it to rain, you want it to snow, you make it happen artificially rather than going to a place with actual snow and rain because you can't control it. Ardent, LOL, how do you improve a movie? How do you improve a movie or improv a movie? Improv a movie? Yeah, you can do it. You know, Super Troopers is about the closest you'll get to an improv movie. Because those guys are, I think they were originally in an improv group. But if you have a comedy team like that, they all basically pick their characters and their shtick, and then they just follow that. And maybe they shoot extra footage out in the middle of nowhere, and they just shoot, they just spend the day shooting a wacky scene where you pull over two guys and then come up with a bit on the spot. Or they have like an outline of a script where some of that stuff is supposed to happen so they can kind of get from point A to point B, but the dialogue's made up. And that makes it a lot more spontaneous. So you can do it. It can be done, but you need a really good improv team and guys who are willing to go there. Yeah. Ardent, LOL, ironically, as much as I hate the technique, scrapbooking may be the best way to shoot something low budget here. Scrapbooking is good if you want to shoot, for instance, the Kentucky Fried Movie Part 2. That's a sketch movie, right? Or, one of these sketch movies. Those obviously are better because you're shooting sketches and they're compartmentalized and you can shoot them from beginning to end, be done, and then just put that on the shelf until you're ready to edit the whole movie. Scrapbooking is not a good idea. Here's the best way. Let me put on my screenwriter hat. Here's the best way to write your movie if you don't have any money. Before you write the movie, make a big list of all the places and resources you have to use in your movie, right? And there are certain things you want to do and you'll look for those resources, but you may not have them. So there are certain movies, for instance, mafia movies can be shot anywhere. It doesn't matter. Crime is everywhere. Therefore, mafia movies can be shot anywhere. Love stories, anywhere. Comedies, for the most part, anywhere. When you're talking about a fantasy pirate movie, you cannot shoot them anywhere. You obviously cannot shoot them in a modern city because fantasy and pirate stuff takes place in fantasy and pirate land. So you're basically going to be confined to the woods, and maybe if you have access to a castle or a very old looking house or maybe log cabin maybe. And that's very tough to do. Shooting a fantasy pirate movie on a shoestring budget, you're going to need at least a ship. Good luck. It's just not really realistic. Ardent, the Blair Witch was done that way, I'd guess. We'd have the woods and a cabin or two. Yes, the Blair Witch was... The actors in the Blair Witch improv most of the dialogue. Which is why some of it is not great, in my view. But, with woods and a cabin or two, that's really tough to shoot a fantasy and a pirate adventure. You might be able to shoot, there's lots of other things you can shoot. But I don't know about it, because you got to think about it this way. What does the audience of a fantasy pirate adventure want? They want to see ships in a pirate adventure. They want to see guys on ships. They want to see cannons going off, people swinging. You're just not going to have the budget for that. So seeing pirates in the woods and cabins probably isn't going to work. Now you could say the fantasy stuff in the woods, some of that could work. But again, what do you want to see in a fantasy movie? You want to see dragons. You want to see knights on horseback. You want to see castles. So don't make that movie. Make a movie you can shoot in a cabin and woods and whatever else you have. Ardent could put the ship in the background with CGI. I'd just never be on it. Would you see a movie that way? That's what you got to think about. What would you say if you saw a pirate movie where the character is never on the ship? Now, it could work for a comedy because you could pretty much make anything work for a comedy. So if you're going to do a comedy, yes, you could probably make that work. But if it's got any serious amount of stuff in it, it's not going to work. It's just not. Ardent, sorry, you have the wrong impression. It was meant to be a fantasy or a pirate. Yes. Oh, okay. Fantasy or a pirate. Fantasy is probably a little easier than pirate because you need the ships for pirate. Fantasy, you don't necessarily need the ship. You probably could get away with the cabins, but you need monsters or dragons or something. Ardent, LOL, true enough. Back to the idea board. All right. But again, build your movie what you have. You have woods and a cabin or two. There's lots of movies you could do with that, right? So you could do, of course, what Sam Raimi did, a horror movie. That's easy enough. That's pretty classic, but, you're going to have to dig to figure out something different. You could certainly make a comedy. Again, comedy is pretty universal. You can make them anywhere. You can make a serious drama there. The challenge in that is a lot of that's on the actors, so I wouldn't recommend that on the first time go. But you could make a fantasy type movie with a cabin in the woods. If it takes place in the modern day, right? It could be about a guy who stumbles upon something in the woods that's fantastical in nature. Maybe it's there's a new movie out. It's coming out called Rabbit Trap, and Dev Patel and his wife accidentally discover the portal to the fairy realm, and that's more of horror, but something like that. Something with fairies, something with a monster in the woods, werewolves or whatever. Depends on, if you want to make it light or you want to make it serious. The serious movie the actors have to be good. They have to be good. If they're not good, nobody will take it seriously. A comedy movie, they don't have to be good actors. They just have to be funny. So you got to make decisions on that. Cabin, you could do all kinds of things. You could do a bank robber holed up in the woods, and it's all about his, he's got millions of dollars, but he can't leave the cabin kind of thing. And maybe they're all driving each other crazy, and then what happens at the end? Do they kill each other? Ardent could just rip off this story series I heard about somewhere called the Pineys. Ever heard of it? It's pretty good. I hear it's good. No, you can't make the Pineys because you don't have the special effects. Unless you're good at practical effects, you get a guy in a costume. But I'm sure there's stories in Newfoundland's history, about pirates. You can have guys. Here's a pitch. How about guys in Newfoundland hunting for pirate treasure or stumbling upon pirate treasure? That could be fun. It could be about a guy who's living off the grid, and because I don't know, he tried to make money in the real world that didn't really work out, and then he got sort of mad and bitter, so he went out in the woods like, screw you people, I'm going to live on my own. And then one day he discovers a massive pirate treasure, and then he's trying to figure out, how can he now cash it in without, paying the taxes on it or whatever. And then, or maybe the idea that he has a happy life living off the grid and having no money, but then he finds this pirate treasure and it kind of ruins his life. Ardent, there are loads of ghost stories and pirate stories there. Yeah, okay. Then pick some of those. Start going through those. Because that could change the focus some. Think about it in the bigger terms and the smaller terms, The bigger terms are the more broad, esoteric things. Like why and how characters do what they do, and then the pragmatic terms of how do you get from A to B. But when you're talking about being cooped up in a cabin or just in a few areas, you don't want to write a check your movie can't cash, right? So if you are writing a movie that takes place at a cabin and some guys are going to come to kill the main character, you don't want to write a big giant fight scene if you don't have stunt people or know what you're doing a little bit, because otherwise it's not going to look great. That's not to say you can't get away with a little bit of fighting, but you wouldn't want an extended, like Rambo-esque style fight. You want to do things that your actors can do. So if you can come up with a clever way, for instance, like maybe the character is a good fighter, but he's also very clever, and then instead of like actually fighting guys, he just sets a bunch of traps and they just fall right into him. Something like that. But yeah, and then just follow the 3-act formula. First act, second act, third act. First act, you introduce the character, the setting, all the good stuff, and then the situation develops, whatever it is. He finds a treasure. Second act, everything gets increasingly worse. He finds the treasure. Now everybody's, people start talking about it, hearing about it. They start coming into the woods. They're disturbing his life. He doesn't want anything to do with them, but they're all trying to get the treasure from him. Maybe he ends up killing a guy. Now he doesn't know what to do. Like, everybody's after this damn treasure, and he just wants to live his life. And he never should have dug it up in the first place. And then, the ending, which, again, like, you got to create an ending that's different. The natural ending for a movie like that is he maybe just gets beaten up and they steal all the treasure and he goes back to his life. He loses his cabin, but he rebuilds and just starts over. Another way to end that movie is, I just thought of it, would be cool if, like, it's a whole movie about him getting the treasure and it just ruins his life, right? It gets worse and worse and worse, and finally at the end of the movie, the bad guys who want the gold just like kill him, right? And then he falls, and then later he wakes up and he's back in the first scene in the movie where he discovers the treasure, and really it's just in his mind. The whole movie was in his mind, and he decides, I don't want this treasure, and he just covers it up, and that's the end of the movie. Something like that. That could be fun. Ardent, LOL, NFLD John Wick uses moose and seagulls as weapons. Anyway, I'm just being silly now. Yeah, just write a movie within your means. One that you can pull off. If you're writing in, we're going to do a big stunt where we are on a hang glider and fight to the death. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to do that. Just write scenes you can do. And then, have a satisfying conclusion. The end. Number 4 is the Fantastic Four. In its 4th week. For nothing. But it still made $8.8 million. I'm kind of surprised it made that much. But this movie is not doing too well. Not doing too well at all, I would say. But I think it's probably going to make its money back, just kind of barely. Oh, is this thing not working now? Come on, the numbers. Oh, there it is. It's very slow. It's made $468 for a $200 million deal. Well, that is probably enough. Almost. I mean, it's going to crack 500. That'll be enough to break even. They're saying it's going to lose money. Ardent people have Pedro Pascal fatigue. I never liked him. I mean, I can't think of a single thing I really liked him in. Yeah, never really dug him. I guess, Game of Thrones would be the only thing. But that's like, that kind of wasn't on him. That was the book. Everything else, I'm just like, why do they keep using this guy? So, yeah, I think they're going to keep pushing this movie, though. Disney is sort of stubborn like that. Number 5 is The Bad Guys 2, 7.5 million in its third week. I think this movie did okay-ish, I remember, because it's Sam Rockwell doing one of the voices. And $80 million for a $117 million box office. Well, yeah, not really making its money back yet. I'm kind of surprised. This was doing okay. I don't think that's gonna make its money. Ardent, I loved him in Game of Thrones, and he was okay in The Mandalorian. After that, once they tried to run him as real people, he wasn't good. Yeah, he's in some other movie that takes place in the 80s that's coming out, too. Number 6 is Superman. Superman. By the way, General Zod, the original General Zod, has died. Sadly. He was very good. Oh, he was a good Zod. Kneel before me, son of Kal-El. And then he crushes his hand. It's badass. What the hell was his name? Something Trent. So Superman is at 594. So it's going to crack 600. This is money. It's not a lot, but it's money. So it needed to make 450. It needed to make 575 to break even. Mission accomplished. That's all they needed to do with Superman. And then just call it a hit. It made money. And that's not even counting all the toys. The toys definitely put it over. Number 7, dropping from 5, is The Naked Gun. Word is The Naked Gun will not make money. But let's take a look. This is in its third week. It was okay. 72 million for a budget of no idea. Was there a budget on this thing? Is the budget for The Naked Gun 2025? Let's see what the here the AI is saying 42 million. That sounds about right for The Naked Gun. So 42 million. It's made 72 million. So it's just about even on its production. Yeah, it's just about even on production. But yeah, they really advertised the S out of this thing. It needs to get to 84 at least. So what are we at? 4. Next week is 2.5 maybe. That puts us at 74. Maybe if you add the rest of the week, it'll put you at, might just creep over 84, but that's really doesn't count the advertising. They really pushed this movie. Maybe if you added in the streaming, but that's a shame. It doesn't look like it's going to really make any money. Ardent, Terrence Stamp, that's his name. No! Stick in the Elektra movies, too. Oh, I did not know that. He was also in a decent gangster flick called Limey years ago. I saw that. That was really good. I didn't realize that was him, or did I? I don't know if I realized that while I was watching that movie. But yeah, he just passed away. It's a shame. He was such a good Zod. He was in a lot of things, though. He was pretty versatile actor. But, he was English, so in America, The English guys are the bad guys. Well, Superman, I talk in an English accent, therefore I'm evil. That was a terrible English accent, but I find it hard to be evil. Yeah, so that's a shame about the Naked Gun. But will they make another? Maybe. Maybe they'll cut back on the money. I don't know. They need. If you want to make the. I mean, I walked out during a credit sequence and they were still doing bits, and I was just sort of tired of them by that point. My girlfriend didn't really like it, but I thought it was fine, but it wasn't great. And it could have been great. But they are still parroting cop shows from the 70s, and they really needed to be doing like CSI, Miami kind of stuff. So if I were to do a Naked Gun sequel, I would either go down that route and pick only current TV cop shows to make fun of, or probably the best thing to do would be to remove him completely out of the cop era and do anything else. Have Frank Drebin retire and then, go off on some crazy adventure overseas or on vacation where guys are trying to kill him for some reason, and then find other movies to parody in that. Ardent, Brits are evil. Germans are mad scientists. Americans are heroes. Canadians are comic relief sidekicks or anti-hero mutants. Seems fair. Number 8, Jurassic World Rebirth. How the F does this movie keep making money? It's ridiculous. It's at $2.9 million. It just won't stop. How many more terrible dinosaur movies are we getting? It's $828 million. Well, it's not $1 billion, but it's close enough. That's money. That is money. Ardent, Frank Drebin, Neighborhood Watch. Anything. Just the idea of a Naked Gun movie or any comedy movie, or one like the Naked Gun, you want tons of parodies in it. You want it to just be non-stop jokes and parodies. And on your way to the parody, just you insert as many jokes as you can. Like, they've done all the basic cop ones from the 70s. Now it's time to do... And again, I still can't believe they didn't do a Taken parody in that movie. That would have been the first thing on my list. Oh, no, we have to do a Taken parody. You just have a scene where Pamela Anderson gets kidnapped and Drebin has to find her. Or that everybody keeps calling Frank Drebin to have him use his special set of skills to find someone. And like he keeps mistaking them for telemarketers calls and everybody keeps getting killed. Anything like that would be funny. Number 9 is F1 the movie. F1, you dude. Did this movie do good? Let's see. 182 million on the domestic side. Wow, overseas it did 407. Look at the difference. 182 domestic, 407 overseas. People love the damn racing cars overseas, don't they? 590 million on a movie that I got to know the one for this one too. What was the budget for the F1 movie? $200 million. Damn, they spent 200 and 300 million. Oh, it's Bruckheimer. Well, no wonder they spent that much money. He's worse than Robert Evans. Ardent. So you think they could make a Police Academy movie now? I doubt it. I've heard a lot of good stuff about F1. Yeah, I hear it's pretty damn watchable. But man, they spent a lot of money, according to the AI anyway. Oh, shoot. Did I just close the numbers? I did. Damn it. Hold on. I got to reopen this window again. Damn it. Um, so 2 to 300 million. Damn, that is too much money. And this thing made 600 million. I said, yeah, about 600 million. I don't know. I'm surprised they spent that kind of money. 200. Let's just say 200 million. 200 million would. Yeah, it kind of makes its money. It's 400. Yeah, yeah. Ardent lots of CGI in it. Probably, if it's Bruckheimer, go to your history and find the tab to reopen. I'm not that much of a boomer. I could have done that. Yeah, I'm surprised they spent that kind of money. I mean, it's a live action film. They're on our actual racetrack. I'm surprised. Next up is Shin Godzilla. This is an old Godzilla movie. Okay. 2016? I don't remember this one. Ardent, LOL. So, Shin Godzilla back in theaters. That was number 10, 1.6 million. Number 11 is Together, dropping from 9. That's in its third week, a little over a million. I don't know if I could watch this movie. It looks a little messed up. I don't even like this poster. It makes me uncomfortable. 21 million. I imagine this movie's pretty tight for a budget. It started at 10, now it's at 12. Sketch from Angel Studios, just under a mil. Second week dropped 62%. Ooch. That's no bueno. Ardent, are we entering an era of the re-release? Well, they should be re-releasing movies because their regular movies suck. So you might as well release some old movie that people actually like. And quite frankly, there's, a lot of, nothing. I mean, a lot of times they're clogging up the screens with 2 or 3 copies of the same movie anyway. So why not have an old movie in the chamber in case you need it? Let's see. $3 million budget. It made $7 million. That might be money. That's about money. So, that's Tony Hale. He's funny. I like Tony Hale. This is 13. East of Wall from Sony Pictures. Not doing too great, but it's only in 626 theaters. Made $355,000. East of Wall. An authentic portrait of a female resilience in the New West, inspired and played by the women and girls who live it. Set in the Badlands of South Dakota, Tabitha, a young rebellious rancher who rescues and resells horses, must make hard decisions to deal with her fractured family, financial uncertainty, and unresolved grief, all while providing refuge for a group of wayward neighborhood teens. That sounds like a very girl movie. It's got horses in it. She's trying to save everybody, and there's a lot of family drama. Like, that sounds like the perfect art house movie for women. I do like movies with horses in them, and I like westerns, but I don't know if I would see this. Sounds like it's just going to be endless drama. Ardent, to be fair, I'd go see a Maltese Falcon Casablanca double bill. Oh yeah, that would be cool. I would see that as well. Nuts. Hold on. Boom. Sounds like it'd be better off as a reality show. Yeah, or I don't know. There's two kinds of movies now. It's like There's the movie you're going to see on streaming, or the movie you get geared up to go to the theater. And that second kind of movie, the bar goes higher and higher every day. I mean, I'm basically out of movie theaters. I've really had such a terrible time the last few times. I just don't see any reason to go back until something majorly changes there. But, you know, it's like, I gotta think it's the same for most people to some extent. Like, do I pay all this money and go to an actual movie theater, or do I just stay home and stream it for a fraction of the cost and way more comfort? I think more and more people are just going to opt for the comfort. I Know What You Did Last Summer drops from 11 to like 15, $265K. That movie made it, I believe it made its money. It's Never Over, Jeff Buckley, about that singer who died, $240K, dropping 43%. That doesn't really have legs. It's sort of a very specific movie. Witchboard, premiering in one theater for $197,000. That's not bad for one theater. Witchboard. I think I saw the trailer for this. There was a lot of witch movies that came out. Yeah, this is the remake. This was a hot little franchise, I think, back in the 80s. So, I don't know if it's going to take off again. They made like 3 or 4 of these movies back in the day. I don't think I was particularly enthralled by it. How to Train Your Dragon, live action, $179K. Just take it out of theaters already. Smurfs, just take it out of theaters already. 5th week. My Mother's Wedding. That's that Scarlett Johansson movie. A lot of women in that. 2nd weekend, dropped 78%. Ouch. Already going out of theaters. Ardent, Witchboard was a B-movie series from the 80s and 90s. Yes. Cat Video Fest 2025. If you don't understand what YouTube is and you're afraid and would rather go to a movie theater and pay an exorbitant price, get yourself to Cat Video 2025 before it's too late. Elio's down here at 51,000. Lilo and Stitch at 31,000 in its 13th week. Damn. And some new movies dropping. Went Up the Hill, Greenwich, $20,000 in 132 theaters. That doesn't seem like a very good thing. Abandoned as a child, Jack travels to a remote New Zealand to attend the funeral of his estranged mother, Elizabeth. There he meets her widow, Jill, who has questions of her own. Over the nights that follow, Elizabeth returns and possesses Jack and Jill, using each of their bodies to speak to the other. Jill faces Elizabeth's suicide, while Jack confronts his abandonment. As they learn she is trapped in limbo, Jack begins to doubt Elizabeth's reason for returning. Caught in a life-threatening nocturnal dance, Jack and Jill must find a way to let go of Elizabeth's hold before she pushes them to the edge. Dear God, no, I will not see this movie. Ardent, who is going to see that cat thing? Old ladies, I guess. Went Up the Hill. Jesus, dude, this is the worst synopsis ever, I think. Basically, it's Jack and Jill went up the hill. Ha ha ha. Is this... I don't know if it's supposed to be a joke or what, but it seems like a total joke to me. Did you just sit around and laugh thinking up of this pitch and then, like, let's make the movie and pretend it's serious? The Glass Worker. One theater made $12K. A young Vincent and his father, Tomas. Oh, it's a cartoon. Run the finest glasswork shop in the country, and they find their lives upended by the impending war in which they want no part. Can't really tell what war that is, but I assume it's maybe the big war. The arrival in their town of an army colonel and his young, talented violinist daughter, Alice, shakes their reality and tests their relationship between father and son. The love that develops between Vincent and Alice is challenged constantly by the differing views of their fathers. It is a time when patriotism and social standing are considered important, more important than free thought and artistic pursuits. It's a time when love is just not relevant. Ardent, Jack and Jill went up the hill and lost a ton of money. Alex Ogle is here. Good evening, my bigoted Uruk-hai. I presume Sydney Sweeney is back on the menu, boys, but she better had be, because I have a draft of a script for a time-traveling Hooters waitress whose uniform travels 5 minutes early or late, depending on what I want from the plot. And she needs to star. Oh my, I'm here, but my uniform's not here yet. I like it. Let me see a draft. Ardent, Ogle the Ogre. Good to see you. Then finally, there's Suspended Time. So this is another new movie. Is it a cartoon? As society recedes in the spring of 2020, film director Paul Berger returns to his childhood home in provincial Chartreuse Valley, still processing the legacy of his parents and feeling out the uncertain shape of the world to come. Paul hunkers down with his documentary filmmaker girlfriend Carol, his music journalist brother Etienne, it's got to be French, and Etienne's new girlfriend Morgan, squabbling over the minutiae of health protocols and the morality of a hermetic lifestyle mediated by the ubiquitous online shopping. The makeshift household finds new ways to lacerate family wounds. Yet Paul also finds a surprising refuge in the compulsory quietude of the pandemic life as opportunity to reconnect with the books and art and enchanted forest of his youth. Sounds like no bueno to me. Sounds kind of boring. Maybe on a, like a stream, I'd watch it until I got bored. Ardent, sounds like Quebecois. Did I say that right? Probably not. All right, that's the box office this week. This weekend, 85 million. Damn, that is not high. What was last week? It was way over 100, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was, because Weapons did really good. Yeah, last week was 131. This weekend is 85 million. That is no bueno. No bueno. So yeah, that's really no good. 85 million. But that's the state of movies. I'm not even sure what's opening next weekend. Primitive War looks good. That's like Vietnam guys who end up fighting dinosaurs. That looks like it might be the Jurassic Park I wanted. The Toxic Avenger's coming out, but that doesn't look any good to me. That looks dumb. It looks like a bunch of Hollywood big shots trying to be cool. Like trying to make a bad movie. And I think they're trying too hard. Peter Dinklage is insane for doing that movie, in my opinion. Like Elijah Wood, I could see it. He's got a bit of a sense of humor. He's kind of made his money. He just does weird things for projects. Wilfred was a very weird show. So I can totally see him wanting to be in the Toxic Avenger. I have no idea why Peter Dinklage is in it. This is a guy who, to me, complains about the image of little people and then agrees to be in Toxic Avenger. It's like, why would you do that? Ardent, Quebecois, sorry, was buttering toast. Quebecois. So, let's see. What are the coming previews? Coming soon. IMDb. Haven't looked at that in a while. Yeah, so Primitive War is the 21st. When is that? Is that next weekend? No, that's Thursday. I think this could be really good. Oh, Jeremy Piven's in it? Cool. And then over the weekend, you got Eden. That does not look good. Honey Don't might be good. Margaret Qualley's in it with Aubrey Plaza. And Margaret Qualley is a detective and she's a lesbian. And I think she seduces Aubrey Plaza. So that might be worth seeing. Relay. I forget that one. Splitsville. That's supposed to be a comedy. I don't remember if that was good or not. I remember doing a piece on it. Lurker, Donji Rescue, Lily Lives Alone. It's a horror movie. Then the week after, this is the end of the summer. The Roses, the remake of The War of the Roses. I don't know. It does not look good. It's Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman trying to do comedy. Yeah, stay in your lane. I don't think that's going to be good. But a movie that does look good is Caught Stealing. That looks really good. It takes place in 1990 in Manhattan. And it's got Austin Butler's the main character. I know, you wouldn't think of him from comedy, but it looks good. Matt Smith's in it as like a English punk from that era. And the Toxic Avenger's coming out. Look, it was made in 2023, it says. How good could it be if it sat on the shelf for 2 years? Run. I saw the trailer for Run just recently. That does not look good at all. Tina. Don't know what that is. And then Labor Day, you got Another in the Fire. The Conjuring Last Rites. That might be a slightly, spike for the audience. I mean, that's got a big following. Hamilton, the movie, go F yourself. I'm not seeing that. Twinless. It's a comedy drama. Yeah, that might be okay. I don't know. It didn't look that great. The Threesome, that does not look good at all. Pools, I forget what that's about. The Baltimoreans, I like the name. I'm not so sure about the movie. JEC, Caught Stealing? Is it based off the James Addiction song? No. I think it's based on a book. Ardent. War of the Roses was an English conflict. Are you sure it's a remake of the Douglas Turner? I think it was Douglas/Turner. I think it was Kathleen Turner comedy. Yep, 100%. The Legend of High 2, The Light of the World, Everything to Me. That did not look good at all. Savage Art, The Life and Cartoons of Pat Oliphant. No idea. And then September 12th, you got The Long Walk, which, I don't know, a lot of people are raving. Oh, I can't wait to see The Long Walk. Stephen King, I love that story. I don't think it's going to work out as a movie, but that's just me. Downton Abbey, don't give an F about that. Spinal Tap 2, I really wanted this to be good, but it does not look good. It already looks not good at all. I mean, I think it's about 20 years too late to make this. 20 years ago, oh man, you couldn't stop me from getting to the theater to see this. But now you're going to, I don't know, man. Code 3, it's billed as an action comedy. It didn't look that funny. It might be okay. The History of Sound. September 19th, Him. It's this like sports horror movie. It'll either be like a mega hit or it'll just like go away like it was nothing. A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, Waltzing with Brando. That looks kind of interesting. Waltzing with Brando has Billy Zane as Brando. He plays Brando. And the premise is Richard Dreyfuss is in it. John Hader is in it. and Tia Carrere. So the premise is like, I think it's based on a real thing. A guy helped Brando build this like resort or something on this island, and Brando's just like wacky. JC, Spinal Tap 2 looks cringe. Bunch of boomers on their last legs, looks more depressing than funny. Yeah. Ardent, well, that sounds like instant suck. Yeah, it does. I'm really kind of rooting for it to be better than what it looks like. But it's just like, I mean, there's just nothing in it. I didn't really see anything funny in the trailer. JC, I could Zane being older I could see, I think you meant I could see Zane being an older Brando, actually. He looks really good in a role. So I think Waltzing with Brando might be fun, but they're billing it as a drama. So I guess it's supposed to be serious, but I may go see it just for Billy Zane. Alex Ogle, it's not Downton Abbey, but I can recommend Gosford Park with Maggie Smith and Clive Owen. Funny and dramatic with a nice twist. Oh, okay. Zeno, that looks terrible. The Summer Book, not sure what that is. The Senior, it's like a sport movie with Michael Chiklis. Hunting Jessica Brock. Steve, comedy drama. Which is about all you need to know about it to know how it's going to play out. It's more drama than comedy, I think. But it's about Cillian Murphy as this teacher trying to teach like inner city youths in the UK. How do I reach these kids? It doesn't look great. It looks kind of the same stuff. And In Whose Name, about Kanye West. September 21st, Andrea Bocelli, Because I Believe. I have no idea. September 26th, One Battle After Another. That's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, which kind of looks funny, but I find it hard to believe it'll actually be funny. It says action, crime, and drama. Benicio del Toro has a really funny scene in it that's in one version of the trailer. Sean Penn, I don't know. JC, Zeno, like the Scientology thing? No, it's like an alien monster movie thing. The Strangers Chapter 2, if you like slasher horror. Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, if you have a little kid and wants to see that. Eleanor the Great, looked okay. It's a drama with an old lady. BFF's a comedy. I'm not sure if I saw that. And Bo, Artists at War. Andrea Bocelli is a blind opera singer, probably a concert film. Oh. Ardent at JC. That's Xenu. It's Xenu is the Scientology thing. That's right. It's Xenu, not Zeno. Yeah, Zeno is... I saw the trailer for this. Oh, wait. No, this is the other one. So I had like 2 alien movies in one of my triple trailer deals. So it's kind of like E.T. So she befriends the alien, but the alien's like this like crazy dog-like alien creature that kills people. I'm pretty sure it kills people in the movie, but it's still like her friend somehow. So it could be kind of cool if they take it as far as it's supposed to. But I'm not sure. Ardent, Zeno is the Greek prefix for alien. I don't think they're going to take it in the direction I would, but... Alright. Checking the trades. Ardent, LOL. So it's man's best friend, but an alien puppet? Yeah. Kinda. Speaking of man's best friend, what's up, Joan? I hear you're gruffing. You need to get down? All right. Say hi to everybody. Okay? And then say, good night. All right. Let's see what's going on in Fandom Pulse. Fandom Pulse, I mean, it was always sort of mildly religious, but recently it seems to be pushing the religion harder and harder. It's just pushing the religion like this. Ardent, she heard you talking about dogs. Yes, she's very jealous. Worldcon and the Hugo Awards hits new lows with extreme identity politics and dwindling participation again. Yeah, the fandom is completely rife with woke crap. It's being completely undone. Everything I'm hearing about, conventions and places, they're all like just falling apart. All of them. To which I say, adios, because another guy will pick up the baton and make a real con with no woke BS. JC, yeah, that sounds like JDA. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the Sihalat Who Ate Its Tail review. No idea what that is. Star Trek Strange New Worlds sounds god-awful. Every time they write an article about it, I just go, oh my god, they actually made that? Yeah, I'm not watching that show. I'm an OG Star Trek guy. The biggest telltale to me that they're desperate for viewers is when they suddenly announced, Captain Pike is going to say the Lord's Prayer in one episode. Like, what? You did a musical number. You had all this identity politics in it. You did a puppet one. You spent, I don't know how many years telling everybody they're a bigot, and now you're going to suddenly say the Lord's Prayer in an episode? I'm just like, yeah, you guys are cooked. Ardent, I think Slat was a Vulcan version of a dog. Oh. Okay. Marvel and DC writer Deniz Camp leads cancel mob against Argentinian comic writer who he claims put anti-trans allegory in Valiant Comics Bloodshot. He may very well have done that, to which I applaud him, because allegories are much more nuanced than just shooting your opinion out there. I believe someone retweeted one of the pages. I think it was John Douglas, the guy who did the Orc City thing on X, if you saw that. Anyhow, the idea was, in the story, there are vampires in society, and that people were purposely allowing their children to be turned into vampires because it was trendy. And I think he used the word transitioned, but I forget. And I thought, oh, that's a good way to put it. And now he's getting dragged for being subtle, being slightly subtle about it. I think it's fine. I haven't read a Valiant comic in ages. I went to go get Bloodshot when it first came out, and the guy who ran the comic book store at the time, he was out of them. I was like, oh, you're out of them already? He's like, yeah, I ran out. Next week I came back, he had a thick stack of them, and he had doubled the price. And I'm like, you didn't have any of these last week. How'd you get them so fast? He's like, well, sometimes I hold a few back. I said, you held these back just to raise the price on me? And I never read it. I said, F you. I hate when people do stuff like that. And it's particularly dumb if you tell people. Ardent, like the Targ Klingons have. No, I'm not a massive nerd. Why do you ask? Speaking of the Bloodshot comic, ever see the movie? I never did. I heard it was pretty unwatchable. And I'm not the biggest fan of Vin Diesel, but I kind of wanted to see it, and I figured I'd see it on cable, but I never did, and it just kind of like disappeared. So I'm not dying to see it. I think it could have been a good... quite frankly, I never thought the comic really executed the idea well either. I mean, you would have thought a super-powered, hitman for the mob would have been a badass story, but it's kind of not. It's kind of just, to me, a generic superhero comic. It really should have been mobbed up. Like, that would have been 100%. Oh man, I would have done so much with a concept like that. With all my Mafia knowledge from my game, Complete Mafia for D20, oh my god, I would have went wild on it with a comic like that. Ardent, don't see the Bloodshot movie. It's not good. There is a Vampire B movie that beats its ass called Bloodshot, which is way more fun. JC, they brought Valiant back to try to mine the IP. Huh. Ardent, and yet no Archer and Armstrong movie. I liked Archer and Armstrong, but it was kind of a concept that wasn't meant to last long. And same thing with Eternal Warrior. It just kind of wears itself out. And that was a lot of concepts at Valiant. I really enjoyed Man of War. But that's a concept that runs itself out. It really should be a movie, but it's not a 500 issue comic. At best, you might do 30 issues before the idea is just done. JC, they brought Valiant back to try to mine the IP for movies. They finally got one of the properties made into a movie, and then the lockdown started the week they released it. Well, the important thing is Bob Layton got his money. I assume. Those guys, I remember those guys when they first came on the scene. And who the hell was it? Bob Layton, who was one of the creatives. But there was another guy, I forget his name, but he was like a total like, how do I describe him? He reminds me of Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. He was like that. Like, you know, gold ring, business suit. And he was like coming in the comics at a time when they were making all kinds of money. And he was going to take it to the next level because he was like a total corporate guy. Was my impression of him. And I guess they made a lot of money. They had some cool ideas outside the box. They had I think it was an issue of Shadow Man that they gave away at an Aerosmith concert. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea. The problem was I never thought most of the Valiant comics were very good. Like Man of War I liked. Archer and Armstrong had its moments. Eternal Warrior was okay. It was really Highlander. And then they hired Mike Barron to do Hardcore, which was, you know, it was his issues were good, but it just, the entire, you know, like Harbingers was their big launch, right? And that was basically the X-Men. I mean, that's the only way to describe it. It was just another version of the X-Men. But still, for a while, it did really, really good. But it was during this era where everything had, like, extra covers, and it was all hot comics this, hot comics that. Nobody could get the damn issues. So you couldn't read the stories, even if I was interested in Bloodshot. I couldn't get the damn issue. So it kind of just never became a comic book company, really. To me, it just became a collectible company almost right out the gate. Ardent, Kevin O'Leary, so he was an absolute knob? Maybe. He was very shark-like, though, in my opinion. Pragmatism over principle. I did a video about this article, The Failure of Anti-Woke Influencer. So I won't get into it too much now, but this is the article I was like, yeah, you're really pushing the religious aspect of this. I mean, they're quoting scripture in this article and everything. But, I mean, yeah, you could do that. I think it's going to turn people away from Fandom Pulse if you keep heading down that direction. You know, if it seems like every other conclusion in this article was like, well, you know what Jesus said. In Jesus, you could do anything, so jot that down. It's like, dude, I get it. You're religious. That's fine. But that's not necessarily the conclusion to everything. I mean, if you believe that, that's fine, but you could write a one sentence article. I believe in Jesus, and that's really the problem. There's not enough Jesus. The end. I mean, you don't have to write a whole article. But basically, the article is about anti-woke YouTubers and saying how, and this is probably because Asmongold was on a stream, and I saw this, and he basically said, "Oh no, I'm cool with gay marriage. I think it's fine." And I have a very nuanced take on it, but I'm not a religious guy, but I think the government should get out of marriage. However, you have to have fairness for people. I don't think the government will get out of marriage. If you could get the government out of marriage, then you could put all the civic stuff over here and then let any two people who want to live together, write up a marriage contract. Who cares? If it's in the civic end of society, it has nothing to do with religion. The religious side, they should be able to do what they want. If they don't want to marry gay people, then you go to a different church. But they're not going to do that, unfortunately. They should get the government out of marriage would be my thing. And you could have a religious ceremony and not do the civic stuff if you want, and do your own thing and say, well, we didn't sign a paper and whatever. But so, yeah, I mean, Asmongold is just saying what most normal people would say. Yeah, I don't care if gay people get married. There are some other, you can keep taking that logic to its extreme, and some guys say, oh, well, it leads to this and that. Look, you're not going to undo gay marriage. What you're going to do is ruin the midterms, and then you're going to get Trump's hands tied for the next 2 years while you go on your Christian crusade of Christian nationalism, and you're going to F everything up. And then the World Economic Forum is going to roll in and go, ha, ha, ha. And then the Democrats are going to be back in power, and then we're going to have, I don't know, who knows who we're going to have. So stop would be my advice. Just stop doing this. If you're against gay marriage for religious reasons, I get it. I don't think the government should come in and tell you how to run your religion. As long as you're not hurting anybody. I just like I don't think the government should make the baker bake the gay wedding cake. But at the same time, we got to be pragmatic here. And pragmatically speaking, these people can't get married. They can't go outside the government system currently. So you got to give them at least the gay marriage thing for now, until you can maybe sort through this at another time. But pushing the gay marriage issue to SCOTUS now is the dumbest effing move. And you can blame probably the people behind the scenes who manipulated the woke left. We call them now the woke right. And they're trying to push this stuff. Again, if you don't believe in gay marriage, that's fine. I don't care. But you got to believe in fairness. So if someone lives with somebody for 30 effing years, and then they go into the hospital and you say, oh, legally we can't allow you in here to see your friend die, that's pretty friggin' lame, in my view. You should be able to do that. If you want to file your taxes together, I don't care. I think they should open it up to people who are roommates. I don't even care about the marriage part. If you lived with someone for a long time and you never get married, maybe you never have a relationship, you're just friends, you share the same house, why shouldn't you get those benefits if you want them? It should be a contract. But anywho, that's what the article's about. Ardent, listen, Jesus was willing to flip tables. Why MFers whip MFers and buy swords? Maybe don't suggest we emulate that guy. Alex Ogle, the UK had a perfect response to gay marriage. Allow it in law with all the rights of marriage, but call it civil partnerships instead of marriage. It was working superbly until the Conservatives. Yeah, that was something that got pitched here too for a short time, but it kind of just, it was called civil unions here. But that, again, it was another situation where the GOP got over their skis. And again, I think it's behind the scenes. You've got people who want to divide people in America, people in Canada, people in Europe, amongst themselves, so they can continue to control things, divide and conquer. And you can't get all bent out of shape over these rules, and you can't listen to these people who spout extremism. And one of the guys was, what was his name? Oh God, some senator from Pennsylvania. He was a D-bag. He was one of those guys. He didn't like gays. He would connect them to people having sex with dogs on the floor of Congress, and you'd just be like, ah, Jesus, dude, shut up. People get upset when you do stuff like that, and I think it's on purpose to manipulate people. But so yeah, there's more of this kind of stuff at Fandom Pulse now, I guess. What was this? Did I cover this stuff? Let's see. Larry Correa explains why Arc Press is using Kickstarter for his new American Paladin novel. My guess would be they don't have any money, but who knows? Cheryl Hines blacklisted from Larry David's new HBO show over RFK Jr. marriage as Hollywood's cancel culture continues. Seriously? Is that true? I'm surprised. Well, Larry David's got TDS pretty bad, in my opinion. So, maybe it's not such a big a surprise. James Gunn explains why Superman is performing worse internationally compared to domestically. Oh, dear God, dude. Stop talking about your movies and just make them. I mean, seriously. Somebody at the studio ought to say, James, you can have 3 tweets a week or something. And then that's it. I mean, non-stop. Who cares? No one cares about the minutia of this. Costco affirms it will not sell abortion pills that suffocate innocent babies. Like, again, you don't need that in the headline, but I get it. I get why you're putting it out there. Alien Earth. That looks terrible. Existing in perpetual reaction hell. Yeah, welcome to YouTube, I guess. X-Men 97 former showrunner launches on Kevin Feige, calling him for his firing from Marvel Studios. Bo DeMeo is on this quest to get it, and I gotta say, he's gotten a few more creds, but he's not telling me anything I didn't already greatly suspect by my own personal experiences in Hollywood. Producers don't care about talent a lot of times. Some producers do. Some producers, I would say, they pick good talent, and then they might give them some guidance and say, well, you can't do that, but, do your thing. You set some limits. But, the bad ones, in my opinion, what they'll do is they micromanage poorly. And what they seem to be doing throughout Disney, and this is not a revelation, it's been known for a long time, they did everything they could to say, ignore what happened before. Like, don't read the old comics, don't watch the old show, just make it. Just make it. Make it really good, and just do what you do. Person with a voice, person of color with a voice, who we hired under our DEI program, which to me, that was actually Bo DeMeo, but he, as it turns out, was super respectful of the source material, which I was happy to hear. But the poor guy was getting crushed because the show came out and it was pretty damn woke. And as a fan, I was mad at him too. But it turns out, at least according to him, he was trying behind the scenes to get all the old guys who had worked on the comics and worked on the show involved. And he got nothing but resistance from Disney, at least according to him. I believe it. And it's insane. It's totally insane. I mean, think about the kind of money they spend on these things. And some comic book writer who hasn't seen daylight in 20 years. Joan, you okay? Joan, are you throwing up in the other room? Oh, great. Some random comic book guy who hasn't seen seen a paycheck in a while. You can't throw him like 20 grand and put him on as a consultant on the X-Men 97 show? Why not? You still don't have to listen to him, but the fans would love it. I mean, I think you should listen to him, probably, depending on who it is, but jeez. JC, JDA used to have a fun stream called The Dank Scream with a bunch of other guys. They were all figured into that Bounding in the Comics site. Bounding got new management and fired JDA because he wouldn't stop writing stuff like that headline. And he ended up burning down his relationship with all the co-hosts over it. Well, there's definitely a market for it. I mean, it's not dumb per se, but you kind of go in that direction, you're done. You're just as done as the woke people now. You know, you get super hyper religious. That'll be in vogue. It's coming back. It's going to be in vogue for a while, but then it won't be. And then you're done. Just like all the woke people are done. They don't know it yet. A lot of them are scrambling, but they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone very soon. The woke people will be so radioactive, they won't be able to get work. I think they're going to be so radioactive, there'll be people who worked during the era of woke who won't be able to get work because they'll say, oh, you worked. You got to be woke. No, I'm not woke. But we'll see. Alex Ogle, have you been feeding Little Joan too much mozzarella again? Or mozzarella again? I was joking with my friend's Italian wife about how Italian Americans pronounce certain words. No. Joan is just probably upset. Oh, she's back in her bag. She's probably just upset that I haven't walked her yet. I've been very busy this last week, so I've been in and out of the house a lot. I went to a pool party today, had dinner at a friend's house, and so Joan I just left behind today because I just couldn't take her. The house I had dinner at is all full of cats, so that would have been a nightmare. So little Joan has not gotten too much attention. It's also summertime, and I can't take her out really in the day. It's a little too hot for her. She needs to have a grooming session and get all shaved down. Because she's just covered in hair right now. And yeah, I can't take her out when it's 89 degrees. It's too hot for her. One day she bugged me so much I took her out. And that was it, man. We got about 3/4 away around the block and she was just like, and I was like, I told you. And I'd pick her up and carry her all the way home. So she's a little hardhead, but hopefully she'll chill out until the stream's over. But yeah, if you want to talk about Italian, we were just talking about Italian words tonight at dinner, because the couple we were having dinner with, the woman's Italian, and she cooked spaghetti, meatballs. She had some olive oil with spices in it for dipping the bread. We had some bruschetta. It was very nice. And but we were talking about Italian words like gabagool, pasta vazul, what else? A couple others we were mentioning. This one I can't say that one on a YouTube live stream. Some of them are a little spicy, but yeah. JC, I'm just saying JDA is very stubborn. Yeah, I mean, hey, he's entitled to his opinion if he wants to do his own thing. I think, though, you know, it's fine to be religious if you want to be religious, but if you're going to tie religion into everything, it kind of gets boring. And it quickly, look, when there are people in this world, there are two kinds of people. The people who, you know, have their own opinions, and then there are sheep who adopt their opinions from other people. And people go through different phases. Sometimes they go back and forth. But the real problem with the woke wasn't necessarily the woke tards. It It's the people around them who are so insecure they adopted the woke tard message, um, just because that was the popular thing to do and they want to be liked. And they're even worse at it than the woke tards. They're even worse because not only do they adopt the attitude, but they don't even know what they're talking about. So, and then they tend to overcompensate and it makes it even worse. So what happened in the 80s a lot of times, it wasn't necessarily the religious people saying, "Oh, this is satanic. You shouldn't play Dungeons and Dragons." It was the people on just on the outside of that fringe. They were religious enough to be on board, but not even smart enough to have their own opinion. They'd just be like, "Oh, I heard that was satanic. Hey, we got to ban that from the school, or ban that from this, or you can't play this. Oh, I gotta call the cops." They just overreact, and that's what we have a lot of in any population. But in the United States, yeah, you have people who are just, they're going to become, I know it's going to happen, they're going to become religious stupid, I would call them. Just like woke makes you stupid, religion can make you stupid too. Now I met plenty of other religious people. They're fine. They just like religion. It gives them comfort, and they don't push it on people. But then you get people who jump into religion, and they say the biggest zealots are the converts, right? So you're going to have these woke people that were miserable being woke, but they felt they were forced into doing it. And then they discover religion. "Oh, I'm free. I'm free now." And then they go overboard the other way. Ardent. LOL, I had an American buddy in Alberta who used to claim pasta vazul was a slur against Canadians. It is not. It is gross, though. Pasta vazul is like basically spaghetti sauce and beans and chicken. That is a gross combination. My mom makes it for my dad, and she'll call me up and go, "We're making pasta vazul tonight," and I'm like, "I'm out for dinner. I'm not. I won't see you." So she makes it with lima beans, chicken, and spaghetti sauce. It's gross. That is a gross combination, if you ask me. Alex Ogle, THE. The only word you should have been discussing was pineapple. Pineapple? Pineapple. Oh, pineapple. Ardent. All I know is pasta and beans sounds gross. It's very gross. Ardent at Alex. And how it doesn't go on Pete's Saw? The Kraken is here. Still waiting for Tony Dungeon Master to start up a game. Hi, everyone. I really don't have time right now or ever, the Kraken, but maybe one of these days. I don't know. I don't want to give you false hope, but that seems incredibly unlikely. But usually every spare moment I have has to be either writing the Pineys, promoting the Pineys, or trying to get another gig so I can keep the lights on and feed Joan. The worst episode from every Star Trek series. Oh, you got the hippie episode? That's not the worst episode. Nah. The worst episode is the one where Captain Kirk is possessed by a female alien, and so Shatner adopts the body language of a woman. And it's really like, I mean, none of the OG episodes are like horrific to look at like some of the current ones, but that's probably considered the worst one. The hippie one's kind of funny. I mean, it's a little too on the nose for the time period because it's obviously hippie aliens who go to a planet, but all the hippies die at the end, so there's that. Or most of them. Exposed. Board game harassment mob is targeting companies for social justice through organized Discord server. So that's not going to go well, board game people. So thanks for ruining that source of income for people. Just, yeah, this is the fandom now. It's completely, I don't know what's going to happen. I think a lot of this just has to collapse, and again, most of these people will find religion and they'll disappear from the fandom and return a year later like, "Oh, that wasn't me. I always was kind of based. I always liked religion. I always did. I got a Bible in my hand right now. In fact, I'm not here to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm here to shut it down. The Kraken. Ever think of writing something that isn't Pineys? No. A different game, a genre perhaps, just to add some variety, maybe a traditional sword and sandal fantasy or sci-fi, whichever you prefer. No, I have. I mean, it's all about time and money. You know, like if I could get enough sales in the Pineys that I have a second series in mind, all ready to go, but I haven't had a chance to write it. And yeah, it's going to be fun if I ever get around to it. But I need to get the Pineys to a point at which, you know, I don't have to do, God, how many events did I do this year? Last year I did like 130. And I have to do that many events in order to sell enough books to live. So, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work doing these shows. I mean, I went to a thing today and did a whole talk on the Jersey Devil. And the other thing is too, with the Pineys, like the doors in South Jersey, the doors just open right up for me. So I can do these events talking about the Jersey Devil. If I do a fictional world that no one's ever heard of, no one will invite me to their library to talk. So, yeah, it is. But that being said, I still want to get some other books going, another series going. But yeah, not right now. But someday, when time happens, I just need. I mean, like, I have to finish book 19 of the Pineys relatively soon, and I'm barely into it. I'm like halfway through August, and I don't have much of it done. I really got to get into it. And then the moment I start digging into that is the moment I don't have time to get stuff going on with the events. And that's a real problem because what month was it this year? Oh, gosh. One of my months was light, but then it turned out okay. Like September's actually looking kind of light for me, and normally it's full up with stuff. But I got a bunch of big shows, so that's my new plan, is to try to do bigger shows, so then I could do fewer of them. But like that's putting a lot of eggs in the same basket, if you know what I mean. So if that big show, I don't know, gets rained out, or I just don't make enough money, that could be a disaster too. But we'll see how it goes this year. I'm doing okay this year. I'm doing better than I was last year, and but like I don't know, it's always a worry. Money's always a worry for me, always has been. So we'll see. But they're in the works. They're in the works. All right, let's switch gears to variety. Weapons holds strong in weekend 2. There's Josh Brolin. He's so good. Gosh, that guy's good. Man, he's a good actor. Denzel Washington says, who cares, when asked about if he worries being canceled. You can't be canceled if you haven't signed up. He's made his money. He didn't care. People like him anyway. Generally speaking. He said some stupid things around Gladiator 2, and I'm not sure why, but it's fine. Quentin Tarantino says directing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel unenthused me. Needs to be in the uncharted territory for the final movie. So that's why he's letting David Fincher direct the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's going to be the adventures of Cliff Booth, the Brad Pitt character. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it. I like the character Cliff Booth in that movie. He was fun. Here's Terrence Stamp, dead at 87. General Zod. It's a shame, but you know, 87, that's a pretty good run. It's a pretty good run. Seems pretty coherent there. You know, the poor Gene Hackman, the way he went out. Oh, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. God. Completely confused and all alone. Jesus. Here's a story. Sophie Turner was doing a movie with Kit Harington. So this is Sophie Turner from the Game of Thrones movie, and Kit Harington was Jon Snow. I forget Sophie Turner's name. She was like the daughter of Ned Stark. Sansa Stark. Ardent, no wonder I remember The Limey. Soderbergh directed it. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie if I'm remembering correctly. So Sophie Turner and Kit Harington played brother and sister in that movie, although Kit Harington was adopted brother. They were brother and sister, and they sort of grew up on that show a little bit. And now they're in a movie where they play 11. They're a couple, and they had to do sex scenes together. And she said it was weird because it was like kissing her brother, basically. Alex Ogle, Terrence Stamp is a sad loss. His interview about how he got to co-star and appear on the set of Superman is priceless. Oh, I have to check that out. Bow to me, son of Jor-El. James Gunn says he's shooting the Superman sequel much sooner rather than later. We're scheduling it now. Okay. Just stop talking about it. Just make the movie. Anxiety builds at CBS News over potential moves by Skydance. Good. Fire everybody, Skydance. I hope you fire everybody in CBS News. They are useless. You shouldn't even have a news division anymore. Just get rid of it. It's pointless. Put some TV show in its slot. I bet you do better than the news. Conan O'Brien says late night TV is dying, but Stephen Colbert is too talented and too essential to go away. Oof. No, that's you, Conan. I think Conan's way more talented, but defending Colbert, why? Why even bother? He is, look, Colbert is talented. He really is. But man, I think his talent is negated by his behavior. You know, if we had a guy who was super talented and then suddenly revealed how much he loved the bad guys from Germany, yeah, I think people would be like, okay, he's talented, but I don't want to see him anymore in anything anymore. You know? I think Alec Baldwin has this problem with his situation with Rust. I think even though, again, I don't think he shot that woman on purpose, that poor woman. But I think just that people know that he shot someone on the set of a movie, I think that's going to make certain people just go, yeah, I'm not going to go see a movie with him anymore. I think it just hurts his whole image. And Stephen Colbert has obliterated his image in the world of comedy, in my opinion. Now, Colbert there's a rumor going around that he's going to be on MSNBC. I mean, that would be a perfect place for him to go. Yeah, go to MSNBC. Go down with that sinking ship of, Blue Anons. Yeah, that's a perfect place for Stephen Colbert. Do comedy all day long. I'm sure Rachel Maddow will laugh her pompadour off, but I don't think you're going to get much laughter outside of your little bubble of politics. And I don't know what you people are going to do when Trump finally goes out of office. Ardent, I think Conan is confusing Stephen Colbert and Craig Ferguson. Yeah. JC, like Kanye. Yeah. Kanye's pretty radioactive. I mean, he percolates up. He's still got money, but he seems to be losing it slowly over a period of time. He might end up broke, I think, Kanye. I really do think he might end up broke. I mean, because when you get to that level and you start spending that way, everybody, no matter who they are, as they make more money, there's just a new thing to spend it on, And even when you're a billionaire, you spend the money somehow. So, we'll see. Ardent, LOL, speaking of MSNBC, did you see the Alex Stein video bomb? I don't think I did. What did he do? Did he go on MSNBC and say something crazy? He's pretty funny. I liked when he made fun of AOC. But yeah, that's Conan O'Brien. Why product placement is peaking in film and TV. I don't know about peaking. It's been a fact of life for a long time. I don't think that's your problem, TV and film. The problem is nobody wants to watch a lot of your stuff. TV is unwatchable to me now. I don't know if you guys watch TV. I just can't watch TV anymore. The only TV I'll watch is sometimes I'm over a relative's house, and if they like to watch TV with like dinner and stuff, and they'll ask me what I want to watch, and I'll say, "Oh, let's put on Guy Fieri." Doing diners, drives, and drive-ins, because it's like a neutral show. He doesn't talk about politics, and it's just about food we're eating. So, but I wouldn't want to put on a narrative because we're just eating dinner and I'm not really paying attention. Ardent. He just poked his head in and repeatedly said, MSNBC sucks on air. Oh, I gotta catch that. I'll look it up on YouTube. LOL, that story about product placement. These people have no idea what product placement was like in the 90s. Clearly, Coke machines used to save the heroes at the climax of movies. It doesn't matter now because I think so many people, especially for television, are just tuning out. They're just going to streaming, and you can't predict when somebody's going to watch a streaming show or a streaming movie. It might be 10 years from now, so you could put some sort of product in there. They might not see it until the company's out of business or it's a completely different product. They don't have that flavor of soda anymore. Everything has changed. So, product placement, I don't think it is what it used to be. So maybe The Last of Us star Bella Ramsey would love to play Spider-Man and make a heist movie with Pedro Pascal. Well, that sounds like the movie of my nightmares. Thank you for sharing. Go to hell. No, I shouldn't say that. She's done no harm to me other than make terrible TV. Because The Last of Us looks awful. And her giant forehead scares me. I don't know what you're doing, but I'd love to play Spider-Man. You can't play Spider-Man. You're a woman. And I don't think they could build a mask big enough for your head. Ardent, I'll find you a clip. Here you go. Sky News Australia's based as hell. I'll look at that later. Speaking of General Zod, remember when he punched Superman into that giant Coke sign in Superman? Yes. LOL, a spider heist movie? Speaking of actors who were peaking in the Game of Thrones, yeah, no kidding. What else we got? Adult Swim's delightful Spanish language series, Women Wearing Shoulder Pads, features 80s flair, lesbian tryst, and so many guinea pigs. TV review. I used to watch a lot of Adult Swim. That sounds like something weird and crazy they'd play at 3 a.m. for stoners. Sounds way not serious, though, for Variety to be reviewing. Darren Aronofsky tried to stoke rivalry between Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis on Black Swan set. Was all in good fun. Well, that kind of makes sense for method actors and directors because they were rivals in the movie, so who cares? Guy Pearce pays tribute to the adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Co-star Terrence Stamp. You were a true inspiration, both in and out of heels. Okay. Didn't know he was in that. Quentin Tarantino says Inglourious Bastards is my masterpiece. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is my favorite, and Kill Bill is the movie I was born to make. I said it before and I said it again. I don't like Inglourious Bastards. I do enjoy Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I love Kill Bill. So there. The Boys team break down political satire musical number written years before Trump was reelected. Oh, dear God. Did they do a musical in The Boys? Are you kidding me? God, this show was... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And you wonder why people like JDA are going super Christian when you do this to Jesus. That's just stupid, dude. Stop picking on Jesus. I bet you won't pick on Muhammad. Oh, I bet you never put Muhammad in there. If you had balls, you'd put Muhammad in there. You'd never get a green light in a million years. Lazy ideas, in my opinion. Sarah Jessica Parker says, I don't care that people hate watch, and just like that, it has been so enormously successful. So successful, it's canceled. JC, Kill Bill has aged the worst out of his movies? I don't know. I mean, I like Kill Bill. It does get tiresome in parts, but... Moving on to Bounding in the Comics. From The Legend of Ochi to The Surfer, here are the 10 underrated films in the 2025... Let's take a look at this. That might have flown under your radar. I kind of want to see The Surfer. Havoc. Oh, yeah, Havoc was fun. I liked Havoc. The scenes... The stunts in this movie were just bonkers. The guy who did The Raid did this. Yeah, see Havoc. That's a good movie. Bring Her Back. Didn't see this. It looks like pretty standard horror. A brother and sister uncover a terrifying ritual at the secluded home of their new foster mother. The Ballad of Wallace Island. This looked boring. But basically it's like a folk duo. There were a couple, and then the band split up and they split up, and a super fan brings them back together, and I guess they get their relationship comes back together too. The Gorge, oh my God, this looked awful. Miles Teller and some hot chick, I forget who. No bueno. I hated this concept. It looks very contrived. Fountain of Youth. Did not see this. I did do a pitch like this. Two estranged siblings join forces to seek the legendary Fountain of Youth. Using historical clues, they embark on an epic quest filled with adventure. If successful, the mythical fountain could grant them immortality. 5. Brick. A couple whose apartment building is suddenly surrounded by a mysterious brick wall must work with their neighbors to find a way out. This is another movie that looked very contrived. It looked like that, if you've ever seen that TV movie Cube, or, you know, another movie where people are trapped in their house or an elevator. The Surfer. This looks like another bonkers Nicolas Cage movie where he fights a bunch of surfers. I don't know if he wins or not. 3. Predator, Killer of Killers. This looks like a video game. Is that what it is? Oh no, it's animation. 3 of the fiercest warriors in human history become prey to the ultimate killer of killers. I don't know, maybe. Heads of State. This looked like one of the dumbest... You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Bounding in the Comics, to pitch this. So it's John Cena and Idris Elba. John Cena is the president of the United States. Hold on. Idris Elba is the Prime Minister of England. And they end up in a plane crash, and there's a bunch of guys trying to kill him. Yeah, it looks dumb as F. And The Legend of Ochi? What's the name? William Dafoe's in this. I don't know. It looks like a child's movie. I don't know. I don't get this list. Bounding in the comics. I don't get you. I'm not going to listen to your list. There, what do you think of that? Alex Ogle, John Cena is president? Is this a sequel to Idiocracy? Yeah, right? Like, and he's super American, like, annoying. Like, they don't even make him kind of smart. Ardent, heads of state, that looked like garbage. Not just any old garbage. Stinking, reeking, rotting garbage set on fire in a ring of smoldering turds while someone roasts cats for ambience. Yeah, that sounds about right. Marvel fans reject Kevin Feige's claim that Doctor Doom is replacing Kang. Whatever. I think he is. King of the Hill showrunner says revival works because Hank's common sense middle ground is not the middle anymore. I mean, I never thought King of the Hill was that funny. It was okay. A couple episodes are really funny, but mostly it's just good enough for me to watch. Ardent, oh good. I thought I might have gone too far. JC, we simping for Kang now? Apparently. Alex Ogle, at Ardent, your average Newfie barbecue? By the way, if you didn't see this story, they're putting Spider-Man and Spider-Man characters on Magic cards now. So, enjoy that if you're still playing Magic cards. I used to play Magic cards, but that looks like one of the He-Man characters. They're also putting like Final Fantasy characters in it, all kinds of characters. Ardent at Alex Ogle, nah, we don't use Mongolian methods to cook. I wish I had a Mongolian barbecue place near me. I had it in Ohio once, and it was really good, and I thought, when I get home, I'm going to find me a Mongolian barbecue place. It's really not one here. JC, I never liked King of the Hill. Mostly the show I had to sit through because The Simpsons were coming on after. Yeah, me too. Like, it was just tolerable enough to sit through before The Simpsons came on. Once in a while they hit their stride and it's really funny, but for the most part it's just kind of like, that's okay. Ardent, gods, my buddy the Shade Master is going to have a great laugh at those cards. JC, that was a Final Fantasy character. Yeah, they did Final Fantasy, they did Spider-Man, and they did something else. Alex Ogle, at Ardent. Yeah, the UK population in Cotswold seemed to have turned Mongolian with their reaction to J.D. Vance vacationing there. Ardent at Alex Ogle. Oof, those people need help. Carl Benjamin had a video about the Cotswolds and their reaction to J.D. Vance. Ardent, they did race swap Lord of the Rings, the bastards. Yes, they did. That would definitely keep me out of Magic cards. That's just unnecessary. Adolescence's Jack Thorne on Internet Safety, the Beatles and his Buzzy Show, I guess. SNL 50 EP, Morgan Neville on More Cowbell and how SNL nearly met its demise. Can't meet its demise soon enough at this point. Alan Cummings says reprising Nightcrawler role on Avengers Doomsday was really healing after a miserable experience filming X2. Okay. Ardent, Wizards of the Coast has completely lost the plot. Yeah, so has the guys. I don't know if you saw. Let me see if I can find it. You want to talk about losing the plot. Let's see if I can find this ad. Oh, let's see. It's it's a D&D ad. You probably know what I'm going to show you. Yeah, here it is. This is the Dungeons and Dragons account on X. Life of a Showgirl. Dungeons and Dragons, everybody, 2025. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. Whatever it is, whoever's daughter is running Dungeons and Dragons into the ground, please send her back to college or off to Europe to find herself and let, somebody who actually likes to play the game run things. Alex Ogle, did SNL peak with more cowbell? Oh, I think it peaked way before that, but maybe. Ardent? Okay, Cummings Nightcrawler was one of my favorite adapted characters. I don't want to see Doomsday. He'll be in it for like 10 seconds. There's 60 characters in it. Ardent, oh yeah, that. JEC, did Bryan Singer molest Alan Cummings on the set of X-Men 2? I have no information on that. Ardent, at JEC, he didn't find it comfortable experience being painted blue all the time. Probably the same chick that did the I'm Not Starfire comic. Storbang is here. Don't look like canon to me, and I've never played D&D. Yeah, this is so far from D&D. I can't. I just like, you had to go really out of your way. I mean, it was bad enough they were making orcs like real people and then equating them. There was a thread, this was like a few years ago, where they were equating orcs to black people. Some of the woke tards were. And then later they decided orcs had to be like equal to humans. They got rid of all the racial adjustments in D&D when you make your character. They got rid of so much. I mean, it's ridiculous now. So now they make these crazy characters where you're half animal and you know, they've got all kinds of crazy identities, and they do everything but fight monsters now. So now here they are. This is peak woke D&D, life of a showgirl. Like, you're supposed to look at this and go, oh yeah, that's D&D. Oh yeah, that's sword and sorcery. Yeah, let me get my dice. Let me get my Crown Royal bag of dice and roll up a showgirl, because that's my fantasy, to dance on a stage. And I don't know, is that one in the background dancing on a pole? Is that a dude in the background? It looks like a dude. And then there's some guy underneath the stage. I'm not sure what he's doing. None of these people look like they're in a medieval universe. None of them have weapons. There's not a monster in sight. What the F is this? I mean, and look at the expression of the character in the picture. She looks as crazy as the person who came up with this idea. Alex Ogle, as long as the girl ruining D&D doesn't decide to go backpacking across Pakistan by herself because she's a girl boss. Yeah, she should probably stay away from that. Ardent at Storebang, it ain't. Kraken, 100% true, but a DM can always homebrew the rules back to old school. That is true. But I don't think you should buy their stuff. You should go online, and I've heard you can download the old rules. You don't even need to buy the new rules. Alex Ogle, so my first comment this evening referred to an Uruk-hai, Tolkien's black speech for oak folk. Oh, okay. It sounded familiar, but I couldn't think of what it was. The Kraken, agreed. Yeah, that was part of John Douglas's Orc City thing. He's basically saying orcs should be, orcs as we know them. Evil. Because they're monsters, they're not people, and you got to stop equating everybody to your woke values in the modern age. Your luxury political beliefs that make no sense in Dungeons and Dragons. There's another whole thread. The Kraken, there are a lot of free rules available. Agreed. Don't give Wizards of the Coast any money. Well, I don't really think it's Wizards of the Coast so much as it is Hasbro, but I believe that's their parent company still. But it's all kind of the same thing now, I guess. But yeah, there's been threads on X about disabled D&D characters. Let me see if I can find one of them. These are freaking hilarious. Oh no, they're not on here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is. You see this guy with one arm and he's on crutches. Yeah, this is quite a fantasy, isn't it? Oh no, what am I gonna do? What if he doesn't lose a crutch in the middle of the fight? I mean, this could go very badly for me. I happen to be a wheelchair bound, and there's people in wheelchairs in the fantasy game. Wouldn't your fantasy? And they're like, well, you got to include disabled people. Wouldn't the fantasy of a disabled person be that they could walk? You morons! Gee, I can't use my legs, but it's always been my fantasy to find the handicap ramp in a dungeon so I could fight orcs from my chair. Just so insane. These people are nuts. There's so many spells in the damn game to negate that stuff anyway. You can levitate. You can fly. You can cure paralyzation. You can regenerate your body so you can walk again. You could just make up a spell so you could walk. You literally could just make up a spell called "You Can Walk," and then cast it on yourself and walk around. Oh my God. Alex Ogle. I prefer games Workshop orcs being made of fungus. Ooh, it nearly pigeonholes them as the Xenos to be despised. I didn't know they were made of fungus. Ardent, magical healing, but I'm still disabled. FML. Yeah, exactly. Ardent and Alex Ogle. Wah! Yeah, I mean, look at this guy. It's just so insane. Look how strong he is. How could he possibly get that strong walking around on crutches? How can he work out to get these kinds of abs? You can't do that without being on the gear, I would say. Let's see if there's another one. There's one with a guy's in a wheelchair in a dungeon that's hilarious. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. See? And let's see what the caption says. Accepting the existence of the magic in a fantasy setting should not be easier than accepting the existence of disabled people in a fantasy. She doesn't need to be in the chair. She literally has the power to not be in that chair. Literally. That's the whole point. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Somebody healing this person in a wheelchair. There you go. Now you can walk. Oh my God. Arden, he's wearing an eye patch. This is a pirate, a cultural appropriation. The Kraken. I'm actually building a website for putting normal or base players and game masters together because there's so much gatekeeping going on. Well, that should be good. That could help. I mean, I used to play in a group. The guy had a bard, and his name was the F word for gay people. And that was his name, and he was a very gay character. But it was just crazy. We were very inappropriate in the 80s. All right, so that's about it for the disabled characters in D&D, I think. Oh, there you go. There's a wheelchair. I guess that's it. Or is there a brony in this mix? Where was I? Bounding. All right, now we went to Deadline. Ardent. The only reason someone in D&D campaign would have a disabled character is because the gods hate them. Yeah. And even then, there are spells that would just allow you to walk. You literally could just make a magic ring and say, I want to build a ring that will allow my character to walk when I wear the ring. Problem solved. Ardent, Braille dice. They are Braille. They're kind of bumpy. They have grooves. Access Media's roller coaster from denial to acceptance over MCU's Fantastic Four failure. We all knew this was going to be a failure, right? Is there anyone here who thought, maybe this will be a good movie? I mean, even if it made money, I would have called it a failure. It would have been 20% better if they had just shaved his mustache and made the Silver Surfer the actual Silver Surfer. Then it would have been fine. It probably would have done $700-800 million if they had done that. Ardent, LOL, polymorph wheelchair guy into half snake. His tail still doesn't work? Yeah, like... That's another spell, too. Polymorph. Polymorph's another spell that'll heal you. Christensen says Ahsoka Season 2 promises more Anakin Skywalker, everybody. If Lucas gives them the green light. Oh, I can't wait to see a character I hated in the prequels. Oh, my God. Ardent, LOL, none of us are dumb enough to think FF was going to be good with a set of silver titties on the surfer. Yeah. James Gunn's Superman gets hilariously unclear review in college newspaper. I did not see this story. The writer at The Shield, the University of Southern Indiana student paper, wrote what has to be one of the stupidest reviews of the Superman movie produced by James Gunn. But before that, what does she say about Ironheart? Ardent, if Lucas gives them the green light, what? I don't know. I guess it'll happen. Meanwhile, this is the review of Ironheart by some college girl, I guess. Meanwhile, Marvel has completely dumped Ironheart into Disney Plus after receiving massive backlash due to the insufferable main character and her barrage of insults toward Tony Stark. Doesn't she mean the actress delivered an insufferable performance? Whatever. Yeah, I think you're really, nitpicking at this point. She didn't like it. I don't think anybody liked that show, so she's not defending it. Whatever, the way she terms it hints at what it's become in this soggy excuse for a review. Though it does strongly hint at a lot of the SJWs who supposedly were going out of their way to promote a character who was initially intended as an attempt to replace Tony as Iron Man, never really cared about the replacement creation to start with, and by now, it's definitely moot. Now here's the part that's truly insulting to the intellect when it comes to discussing Superman. All right, prepare yourself. Personally, I never liked Superman. I always thought the character was too perfect. Oh, his only weakness is a crystal that doesn't even exist on Earth anymore? It never seemed like a good character writing. That was also a big reason why I preferred Marvel growing up. The Snyderverse DC movies were gritty, while the Marvel Cinematic Universe were more kid-friendly, or at least kid-friendly as PG-13 movie could get. I thought Superman was a bad character because there was no lesson to learn from him. He was considered a perfect being. I mean, see, this is what I mean about the anti-woke guys kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's not the dumbest argument I ever heard about Superman. Ardent, oh, she's a journalist reviewing things she doesn't have any more background knowledge than the writers? Yeah, but it's not like super woke. I mean, it's not even woke. It's just she doesn't like Superman. Like, who cares? I mean, if she's at least telling you her personal bias, but I don't think she needs to give us her story growing up with Superman or whatever. Just tell us if the movie's halfway decent. Like, there's a way to review a movie even if you don't like it. I've done that. I can watch a movie and say, well, it's not my cup of tea, but I can see that it's a good movie. But yeah, I think you picked on again, I think people are scraping the bottom of the barrel for woke stuff to make fun of it. Ardent, I've seen way more egregious reviews from supposedly trained journalists. Yeah. What else we got? The Wrap. More on weapons, more on Conan O'Brien. 7 best new movies streaming free on Tubi right now. All right, place your bets. Oh, it's behind a paywall. Damn it, come on. Yeah, Tubi's free, but not this article. All right, while this loads up, I got to get some more iced tea. I'm broiling in here. Joan, I need you to entertain the troops. Oh, dear God, come on. Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. Is that it? Okay, good. I'll be right back. Entertain, Joan. Entertain. Don't lecture, but entertain. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Sorry, I needed more drink. The Kraken. Oh my God, iced tea sounds amazing. I need to make some. So, well, make sure you get some lemon. I never put sugar in mine anymore. Ardent. Woohoo, the Joan Racism Hour. Alex Ogle. The Little Joan backflip on Edgelord. 5 minutes. The Kraken. I'll ask my wife to get me some iced tea bags and the bag of drinking tea from the store in a bit. I recommend, as a YouTuber, I recommend Lipton iced tea. Yeah, I wouldn't get the iced tea bags. I think you get regular tea, you boil it, you brew it, and then you let it cool, and then put it in the fridge. It's nothing better than brewed. Ardent. Joan, we don't call them... I'm not going to say that anymore because I don't know what YouTube's banning these days. Storebang. Joan, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't lift your paw all straight like that. Hey, the Kraken, I have lemon trees. Oh, nice. What part of the world are you in again, the Kraken? Ardent. Lipton or Lipton Brisk? Lipton. I mean, I brewed it. Ardent, I have to make iced coffee later. That's more hardcore. I don't drink coffee. I hate the taste of coffee. God dang, I don't know how you people drink that. The Kraken, I used iced tea maker things that we all have in the cupboard somewhere. Southern California. Oh, you do have lemon trees. All right, here are the top 7 movies that people think, I don't know, the Rap thinks they're the best movies streaming right now. Holes? Okay. Starring Shia LaBeouf from 2003. Story centers on Stanley Yelnats, who is unfortunately part of a cursed family. Okay. No idea. Wayne's World. I like Wayne's World. It's fun. Storebang. Solano Beach. Ardent. Coffee is the drink of the warrior priest. That's what the voices in my head tell me anyway. The Heat. I don't know. A lot of people said this was a decent movie. Maybe I would watch it. I find it hard to believe that Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy would make me laugh. Although I will say, Melissa McCarthy was in a serious movie about a woman who forged famous authors' signatures and letters. She was really good in that. Alex Ogle, I bet you can grow pineapple in Southern California. You must have the best pizza in the world. Damn you, Alex. Storebang, Holes, same director as The Fugitive. Ardent, The Heat, no, bad. Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre 2023. That was okay. It wasn't great. Guy Ritchie directed it. I was a little surprised at how, I don't know, there's like way too many people in it. But it's watchable. The Kraken, picture right outside my office window. Neat. Storebang, The Heat was funny. Oh, he liked it. How Stella got her groove back? Nah, I don't want to see Some chick getting railed. The Wiz. I saw The Wiz. I like the music in it. Michael Jackson's great in it. Diana Ross. Nipsey Russell, if you remember him. Robots 2005? Really? I don't know. That didn't look good. And that's it. That was a long wait for nothing, wasn't it? Severance star Tramell Tillman crashes Zoolander screening with a marching band. Okay. Spike Lee says Trump should think twice if he considers a federal takeover of New York. The boogie down Harlem? I don't know if Trump's going to do that. Ardent. Never saw Robots. Yeah, neither have I. I don't know. I don't remember getting glowing reviews on that. But when it comes to Trump and other cities, see, he can do what he's doing in Washington, D.C., he absolutely can do. You'll notice no one's stopping him. Like, they can't stop him. It is a federal district and is 100% his responsibility. So what a lot of people point out is nobody should have ever lived there. They never should have let normal residents live there. They should have kept it mostly for people who work in D.C. and kept it a federal district. It used to be all the way out in the middle of nowhere. Now there's a big city around it. Ardent. LOL. Spike Lee's primary residence is a historic townhouse located at 153rd East 63rd Street on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, which he purchased from artist Jasper Johns in 1998 for $16.6 million. Wow. Clint Miller. I was on the AC Expressway yesterday. Which exit is Abe's Hat exit? That's further down south. Let me think. It would be the same exit as Leeds Point. Now, Abe's Hat doesn't show up on any map, but it is right next to Leeds Point. So there's Leeds Point. It's somewhere over there. And you'd want to get off on the AC Expressway. You probably want to get off at 9. I'm not sure what exit this is. Oh, no, that's the Black Horse Pike. Let's see. Oh, here it is, AC Expressway. Yeah, you want to get off at 9, which is New Road. So look for the New Road exit before Atlantic City. Make a left. And should take you about 20 minutes. You'll be in Galloway Township in Smithville. Ardent, hiya Clint. Alex Ogle, Trump sorts out crime in D.C. and leftists lose their minds. That'll clean up the other shit locations. Yeah, really. It's like, what are you afraid of? Crime stopping? Oh my God, there's no crime. What am I going to do? I've got a purse full of money. Storebang, exit 36? Is that 36? Here's the AC Expressway. Oh, you know what? It's 7. 7 drops you off at the Garden State Parkway. Yeah, get off at 7. That'll be quicker. Take 7 up to... And then take... you can pop off at like Jimmy Lee's Road. And continue to 9, then turn up. Clint, hi Ardent, off US 40 in the trees. No, 40, you're that's a little further down. You want to make you can be on 40, but make a left at 9 and go up the coast. Need to be over at Galloway Township, up this way. Ardent, LOL, I used to live in a part of St. John's called Pleasantville. It was a small town that got absorbed and became a neighborhood. Yeah, you don't want to go to Pleasantville, New Jersey these days. A lot of the people who got pushed out of Atlantic City ended up in Pleasantville, I heard. Storebang, I thought it was in the Pine Barrens, not in the marshes. It's supposed to be next to Leeds Point. That is the Pine Barrens. That's all piney stuff, right at Smithville there. Clint, Garden State Parkway, gotcha. The Kraken, my daughter is an intern in D.C. for our local congressman. She is right near the Capitol building. Never seen or experienced any issues and would rate it very safe. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, I've been to D.C. I never had any problems, but I was there as a tourist. I was there in the day, and then I'd leave before nighttime game. But I've heard from people who live there or lived in a surrounding area, no one goes to D.C., that it's got a lot of crime, especially today. But your mileage may vary. Where was I here? Oh yeah, robots. Now we're going to Cosmic Book News. But like as far as Trump goes with the cleaning up of the crime, you know, they did have. It's the fourth most dangerous city in America, Washington D.C., and it's a capital, so it should be safe. Like we shouldn't have to worry. For instance, Zelensky's coming to the White House on Monday. We shouldn't have to worry about Zelensky getting taken out by a drive-by shooting on his way to the Capitol building. Like, it's not a big worry. I mean, he's got tons of security, and he is coming from the Ukraine, where they have a much more dangerous neighborhood. But, you know, it could happen. Like, if his security team, I don't know, got drunk, and he happened to decide, I'm going to go downtown for a pack of smokes. I mean, something could happen. So, you know, Ardent, right, visit Pleasantville. Do not move there. Clint Miller, daytime in D.C. is okay. Watch the carjackers. Ardent, I mean, a drive-by would create a lot of convenient things. I think the problem with Zelensky is he's likely to be killed by his own troops if he doesn't get them a deal that they can live with. And he's promised them an awful lot. He may have overpromised them. Storebang, there's a house on Route 9 north of Leeds Point that has a creepy chair atop a gable of an 18th century house. Local South Jersey lore, Jersey Devil related, I think. Is that the one in Tabernacle? I think I've seen one in Tabernacle that's like that. And I think it faces the Mullica, maybe? Let's see. What's north of Leeds Point? Not a whole lot until you get to New Gretna. On the edge of Port Republic. Clint Miller at Storebang. Have you been to any of Tony's lectures on how to hunt the Jersey Devil? I did one today at the JEVS. That went okay. Special needs guys. They were cool. I sold some books. Alex, click that like button, everyone. I've done my part. It's turned into Starship Troopers. I've done my part. Yes, give me a like. YouTube changed all the algorithm again. And now I really need likes in order to keep the channel alive. Although my channel seems to be doing okay now. Like I hit a bump right before 4,000. But then once I got over 4,000, things seem to be fine. So I don't know if the algorithm's helping me now. Clint Miller, I wanted to get to the one yesterday, but he got ghosted. Yeah, I did get ghosted. I'm really embarrassed too, because I'm worried I screwed it up somehow. But I don't think you would have made it if you were all the way in Maryland. Store Bang, I'd love to be by. I'm pinned down in Southern California. Oh, no. Ardent, Dina Meyer posted a pic of her and Casper earlier today. That woman still has amazing legs. Here, I'll show you my schedule. Clint, if you're around. Oh, wait, that's not it. Here it is. So, Thursday, I'll be at Jane's Tea House in Haddon Heights, New Jersey. August 23rd, I'm going to the 50th annual New Jersey Folk Festival. I'm doing a talk, but it's not going to be very long. I only get 10 minutes. But Jane's Tea House, I am doing a talk, but it's tea with the Jersey Devil. So there's going to be tea, and I assume lots of little snacks. Clint Miller, I'm in the Bodymore Murderland area, only about 2 hours away. Oh, okay. Well, the Jane's Tea House thing happens 7 to 9. Did I just hear my phone go off? All right, I am. So that one's pretty open to the public, although I would call to get a spot, because I don't know if the spot's filled up yet. The next time I'm doing one is August 27th at the Thirsty Piney. And this is in Lenoka Harbor, New Jersey on August 27th at 7 p.m. So that'll be a good one too, because it'll be in a brewery in Lenoka Harbor. That's not far from, I could show you where that is. That's not far from Leeds Point. It's along 9. Yeah, so this is Lenoka Harbor. Down here is, over here is Leeds Point down near Port Republic. I guess it's about, now that I'm looking at it, it's probably about 40 minutes. But Lenoka Harbor is here. And I don't know where the Thirsty Piney is. I think it's out along 9 somewhere. That'll be a good one. August 27th. That is, what day is that? That's a Wednesday night. Then what am I doing? I'll be at the Groovy Graveyard in Asbury Park, but I don't think I'm doing a whole talk then. What else? And then you have to wait until, oh gosh, Lakehurst Historical Society, September 17th. That's all the way in Lakehurst. Zed's Beer on October 5th. That's Marlton. So when I put How to Hunt the Jersey Devil, that's when I'm doing a talk. Or I'm supposed to. Once in a while I get screwed, but to make sure you don't make the drive unnecessarily, shoot me a message and I'll try to coordinate it with you. Storebang, Tony, have you collaborated with the Weird New Jersey magazine? I only ask because they turned up when looking for a link to the chair thing, actually in a little town called West Creek. West Creek. Okay. West Creek, New Jersey. West Creek. Well, that's along 9. Yeah, that's not far from Leeds. It's above Tuckerton. It's not near the river, though. What river is it near? What river is this? Not telling me the river. Google, tell me the name of the river, damn it. What is that? Westacunk Creek. That's a new one. And that doesn't seem to be near Tabernacle. Near Parkertown and Eagleswood. Yeah, that's a little further north. The Kraken found Lipton iced tea bags expired in 2022. Oh, come on. how bad could they be? What are you going to get? It's not like they're going to make poison, right? They'll just probably not taste as flavorful. All right. Anywho, getting it back into the trades. Cosmic book news. Where's Trump? Disneyland Marvel ditches Georgia for UK, killing local jobs. That is Trump. First off, Trump doesn't want to save Disney. But you know, and he can only do so much with the movie industry because they're super unionized. That's the main problem. They're going to the UK because they probably won't have to pay union wages, and they probably don't have to use, I mean, I guess they got to use the union guys over there, but the money goes further over in Europe now. So, oh yeah, I was talking about Trump and cleaning up D.C. He could clean up D.C. There's no problem with that. The moment he tries to do it with a city, he'll probably get sued by the Democratic mayor who runs the place, and they'll say no. So it kind of depends on who gets elected mayor in New York City. Zoran Mandani has openly declared to be an enemy of Trump. He's definitely not going to cooperate with Trump. He's probably going to burn the city to the ground. However, there are some people saying that the polls are exaggerated and that Zoran's really not that far in the lead, that it may be a much tighter race. But those same people say Curtis Sliwa could win this thing. I would love to see Curtis Sliwa win the mayor race in New York City. He was the leader of the Guardian Angels for years, and he actually fought crime, so who better to elect mayor? But it seems like a long shot. He's been in fourth place in every poll. Cuomo's an idiot. I don't know why he's running, other than to be a spoiler to make sure Adams doesn't get reelected. Adams is no great shakes, but he'd be better than Mamdani. Ardent, Sliwa's a damn good man. Yeah, I don't know how people in New York couldn't vote for him. I mean, to actually put in a place an actual Batman, like a guy who actually fought crime, not just a cop, a guy who took it upon himself to go, I'm going to go fight crime. Like, I can't think of anybody better to run a city like New York. But apparently, the people in New York love communism. Well, they're going to get it. Enjoy, you asshats. And they'll all leave. That's the best part, too. All the rich morons that are going to vote for Mamdani, they'll go, oh, my taxes are too high. Well, I'll just leave. And they'll figure out a way to get out and take their money with them. Deadpool has a new super team in Avengers. Doomsday claims Scooper. I don't care. I mean, it would be cool, I guess, if Deadpool was in it, but that's a movie I'm definitely waiting for streaming. There's no way I'm going to the MCU movie Doomsday until it's well vetted. I'm going to get all the people who normally see it. Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, Dave Cullen, Doomcock. I'm going to wait for all their reviews, and then, and I already know what the review's going to be. Well, there's a lot of characters, and it's kind of confusing, and this guy's good, but they don't get enough screen time, and the story's all over the place. You want to talk about scrapbooking. Doomsday, I think, will be peak scrapbooking. I don't know why they're doing this. I have a theory that Hollywood knows AI is coming. And maybe what they're going to do in this movie is make sure they jam every character, every IP in it, and then they're going to say to the people who, were in this movie, hey, this is really the last time you'll be doing these characters. We'd like to give you a bonus, but we want to own the rights to your image. And likeness and, you know, whatever for just this character. And I think they may pull a fast one on some of these celebrities. I'm not sure, but that could be it, because you can imagine a situation where that very soon you could take a movie like Doomsday with so many characters in it, pick out the Fantastic Four and do your own Fantastic Four movie using AI. Pick out the Avengers you like. Do an Avengers movie with the AI. And they have them all in the same movie, so they just have to spend the money just on that movie. Like, they're going to just spend a ridiculous amount of money to get all the rights, like more rights than they ever got out of a, you know, actor or whatever that's in this situation. And then they're investing in it simply because they're going to always license Doomsday, because all the characters are in Doomsday. They have all the likenesses, they have their voices, they have them saying all their famous lines. And then they can make them say and do whatever they want and make movies for 100 years. That's a theory. I'm not saying it's true. Ardent, LOL, I'm going to wait for the reviews and then not pay for it. Alex Ogle, the trouble with the U.S. is that your cities have such silly names like Schenectady. You need proper English names like Cockermouth, Shitterton, Bellend, or Twat. Are those actual names? I mean, of course I've been to Cockermouth, but who hasn't? Alex Ogle, albeit that Twat is Scottish. Superman digital release sparks divided reactions online. No one cares. Release it or don't. Everybody, you know, people want to see it on digital. Just say, oh, wait for it to come on digital. In 2 years, this movie will be like $4.99 on YouTube. Ardent, oh yeah, the people in Bellend love the folks of Twat. Rachel Zeglar's Snow White bombed, blamed on politics, says Gal Gadot. Okay. I mean, she apparently was pressured to say something about Israel, which is weird because she's from Israel. She's an Israeli. She was in the IDF. Like, what did you expect her to say exactly? Avengers Doomsday, chaos on set. Robert Downey Jr. scraps weeks of filming. Egos clash. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Ardent, LOL, Zeglar. Do we have a picture of Robert Downey Jr.? On set. I want to see an on set angry Robert Downey Jr. Nope, apparently not. Ardent, Zeglar, destroyer of IPs. So, trouble in paradise there. Meanwhile, Kristen Wiig joins Masters of the Universe as Roboto. I know when I was thinking of Kristen Wiig for Masters of the Universe, I was thinking, which muscle-bound moron action figure would she be best at? Of course, Roboto. Because Roboto had a great rack and terrible comedy. Storbang, I'll go to Schitt's Creek if there's any chance I'd run into Ann Murphy. That's a double joke. For you counting at home. Kristen Wiig as Roboto. First off, I'll say it again. Masters of the Universe, in my view, was never good. It was an action figure commercial posing as a TV show. Now, that being said, I was amused by it. I used to watch it sometimes. But people in Hollywood simultaneously treat everything with contempt, the things they should take relatively seriously, and then take seriously things they should treat with contempt. So a character like Roboto, who was barely in the Masters of the Universe, I think, I believe he had a toy. I believe he's in an episode or two. But Roboto? You're bringing in Roboto? Okay. Ardent, did you mean Anne Murray? Oh, Annie Murphy. LOL, I gotcha. All right, and that's about it. Moving on to That Park Place. After Rivers of America closure, Disney's Haunted Mansion queue now relies on massive industrial fans to beat the heat. That's a shame. The closing of the Rivers of America is a sad day in Disney. I don't think they had to do it. They are building something else. I think Universal should have immediately offered to buy the riverboat and then supplant it over in their park, or just built a riverboat and put it in their park, a generic one, one that has nothing to do with the Disney one. SeaWorld to add 2 more international parks as Abu Dhabi inspires expansion. Okay. SeaWorld's kind of interesting. It would be weird to see SeaWorld in other countries because I suspect they don't have as strong rules against the animals. So I hope they would treat the animals nice in Abu Dhabi, but I don't know what the rules are there. I'm mildly concerned for the orca. Six Flags CEO to step down amid declines in attendance, rising promotions, and recent merger. Well, that makes sense. If there was a recent merger, I believe there was. Whatever you do, don't tear down the Jersey Devil roller coaster in Six Flags in Jackson, New Jersey. If anything, every park should have a Jersey Devil roller coaster. All right, over at Breitbart. Peace in peril as Zelensky digs in, declares impossible for Ukraine to give territory to Russia. I double down on ceasefire demand. Putin reportedly demanding Donbass. Dems attack Trump. Zelensky summit in Washington with European leaders. I don't know why Trump's having the European leaders in. So he could say, hey, idiots, shut up. I got to talk to the Zelensky now. Alex Ogle, what does Little Joan think of the recent spate of headlines saying pet dogs are driving climate change? Joan, have you been driving climate change? Damn it, Joan. Stop driving climate change. I'm sorry if Joan's been driving climate change. She does a lot of things when I'm not paying attention. No, Little Joan, she is not driving climate change. If anything, I am keeping the air conditioning on full blast to keep her cool, and myself. But yeah, I mean, what the hell do you want? Just get the hell out. Just cut this guy off. I don't care if Russia rolls over all of the Ukraine. I really don't. I don't want them to. Ukrainians out there, hello. But you guys got to cut a peace deal or they will. Because eventually the money's just going to run out here. The Europeans, oh, they could turn on a dime. Oh, they want this pet project now. I don't know, 5 years from now, I mean, Keir Starmer is probably going to get thrown out of office in the not too distant future, and the UK is going to be done with you. So I would cut a peace deal now while Putin only wants the Donbass region. The Donbass region, by the way, and I've tried to explain this to people, but they don't understand. When the Soviet Union took over the Ukraine, they pushed the Ukrainians west. And you were considered a bumpkin if you didn't learn Russian, and get on board with Soviet nonsense. So all the poor Ukrainians got pushed further west. So the Donbass region now is dominated by Russians, Russian speakers, people of Russian descent mostly, and Most of the Ukrainians either left or they consider themselves Russian. So the Donbass region, for what it's worth, is, even if Putin said tomorrow, you know what, I'm just going to pull all my troops out. Sorry, dude. The Donbass region would probably revolt and still try to leave Ukraine, because the Ukraine's going to be a basket case economically for a long time until they figure out something to do with it. It is the breadbasket of the area, so it shouldn't take them long to get back on their feet, unless, every country in the world has their hand in it, which they do right now. So I feel bad for the people of the Ukraine, but you might as well give up the Donbass region, because you already gave it up. End the war, and then take the U.S. guarantees, which we are making to keep them safe. The war will be over, and you can start anew. You're not getting the Crimea back. Forget about that. Ardent. Message redacted. Two-tier Kier, the Llama Harmer Starmer? Yes. Alex Ogle, Trump needs to cut the money right now. Yes. Europe can't afford to fund that conflict. Yes. If anything, it would put tremendous pressure to get them to negotiate better trade deals with the U.S. Stuttering. Oh, my feed's stuttering? Am I still here? Ardent? Yeah, stuttered here too. Alex Ogle, Canadian internet. Guardians are taking exception to your stance, Tony. Probably. I wouldn't put it past the YouTube algorithm to be advanced enough to pick out, and I think this is the way it'll be in the future. The AI will constantly monitor everybody, and the moment you say something off kilter, suddenly you get pushed down in the algorithm or cut off or whatever. So who knows? Which reminds me, if you haven't done it yet, you should go to Bitchute, Odysee, and Rumble and lay a claim there to my channel, so you can be a part of my channel when I go over there when YouTube inevitably kicks me off the air. All right. Ardent. The Donbass voted to join Russia before the invasion anyway. Might have had something to do with being shelled by their own government for years. Yeah. And a lot of people say, oh, well, you can't trust their election. Can you trust any election? Really? Look, if the people there didn't want to be, like, what kind of people say, hey, let's hold the vote, and then vote to stay in the country they're already in? Like, if I held the vote in New Jersey, and I wouldn't hold the vote if I knew nobody wanted to leave the Union, right? I mean, I'd like to see North and South Jersey split, but, I wouldn't hold the vote unless I knew there was a chance it could pass. So it's probably legit, but it doesn't matter anyway, because it's like I said, it's full of Russians. And you can't wind back the hands of time, and I understand why the Ukrainians would love to do that, but, read about the history of the region. I don't blame you for being mad at the Russians. They did you dirty all through many, many years. But the Russians have basically controlled the region for 1,000 years. Basically. Oh, there's my links. Thank you, Arden. There's Rumble. There's Bitchute. And then the Odysee channel, it'll pop up too. Odyssee's okay. I finally figured out that I have to keep viewing videos on the site in order to get enough points so I can keep posting videos. It's weird. All right. Let's wrap up with the Breitbart Entertainment. Spike Lee says Trump would think twice about any federal move in New York City. He would. That is a point. But it kind of depends on who's mayor and what they're doing. Ma'am Danny would be completely uncooperative unless the city was falling apart and he had no choice. Like Keir Starmer. Like Keir Starmer has been forced into at least limiting some of the immigration coming in, even though he doesn't want to do it. Ardent, I ditched Bitchute forever ago, but I follow you on the Tohers. Others. Ah, thank you. Yeah, Bitchute, I don't like the sorting on Bitchute. It's very confusing to me. Can't find anything on Bitchute. Rumble is so far the best, although Odysee isn't bad on the sorting. Neil Young leaves Facebook after its AI chatbot reportedly had romantic or sensual conversations with children. Good for you, Neil. I lost respect for you a while back, but I guess that's a reason to leave. Gal Gadot says Hollywood pressure to denounce Israel helped tank Disney's woke Snow White. I don't know who knew about that, though, and why that would tank Snow White. I just pretty much think Rachel Zeglar roasted it, but okay. Playboy has left anti-business LA, California, for Miami Beach. There's some hot chicks in Miami. I think that's a good move. Now, there are a lot of hot chicks in LA too, but I imagine most of them now are hunkered down in their bunkers for safety. Miami, it's got some crime, but not like LA, I would say. There's Terrence Stamp again. Here's a review of Nobody 2. Traditional family values and lots of ultra-violence. Okay. Some other headlines. Bill Maher back in the headlines again. Trump has a point that the U.S. hasn't exercised its power enough. Don't know if I like that sentiment. Dems like AOC, Mamdani, and Warren are afraid to come on my show, says Bill Maher. Yeah, I would imagine they would be. AOC is just a moron, I think. Alex Ogle, Spike Lee seems like a bit of a window licker. Spike Lee was very nice to me, very gracious in a letter once, but I don't know what his deal is. He seems to be very calculated in his politics, you know? Like, he comes out and says a bunch of stuff when there's something to promote. And I think a lot of people are doing that. Maybe it's just his niche. He just feels like it, you know. He pipes up when there's some sort of niche racism issue, but in this case he's talking about Trump, but everybody talks about Trump, so I don't know. But yeah, my old boss, Bill Maher, I could see why Elizabeth Warren wouldn't come on your show. You'd trash her. You'd say, but what about this? And she'd have no response. She doesn't want to have to explain herself. Mamdani is never going to explain himself. He doesn't need to. He's winning the election. If he was smart, he'll just stay the course and win. If he's dumb, he'd come on your show and lose a bunch of votes. Bollywood producers stealing actors' voices to generate AI dialogue without paying them. Excuse me. And that's what all of Hollywood will do one day, I strongly suspect. But it won't matter, I say, because inside of that time, the moment Hollywood starts doing it is the moment everybody starts doing it. The moment everybody starts doing it, and eventually the technology will trickle down to someone like me, and I could do it on my PC or my phone or whatever. Forget it. Everybody will be making their own movies. Everybody. You guys will be making your own movies. You won't pitch me movies anymore. What you'll say is, here's the link to the Sydney Sweeney movie I just made. Alex Ogle, movie pitch, Alien Underground, Sydney Sweeney in a bikini. Leads a bikini-clad band hunting down aliens on a planet and tracking down the queen that is contained in the evil Zeglar's fortress. I could say it. Get me a draft by Tuesday. But seriously, you'll be able to plug that in. Say, put Sydney Sweeney in it, put Rachel Zeglar in it. The AI will chug it out, and you'll watch it. Or not. Do. John Nolte, your film school assignment: one movie per day, week 3. I generally don't have enough time for that. But let's see. Does he have a recommendation, or is this behind a paywall too? I knew it. Who's got? It's James Caan and somebody else. James Caan movie. I'm not sure which one that is. Tristan Rogers, General Hospital, has died at 79. So one more to go, and then we'll have our 3 celebrities dead. And then the other older celebrities will be safe for now. Harvey Weinstein to be tried for a 3rd time in New York. Imagine this guy gets out of jail. I mean, it looks like Diddy's going to get out of jail eventually, but Harvey Weinstein, I mean, I guess I would do the same thing in his position, right? You have millions of dollars. Why wouldn't you keep trying to get out of jail? Just keep paying and paying lawyers. Although the rumor is he's finally running out of money, but we'll see. Alex Ogle, AI slop is the ultimate expression of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, the death of culture and reading. I don't know. Think about it this way. If you could put a book like Fahrenheit 451 and you just say to the computer, show me the movie version of that, you know, people would end up reading a book that maybe they wouldn't normally read. I don't know. I think it's also true that a lot of books just aren't worth reading. That's what I find when I'm out selling my books. So I was in Bridgeton on Friday night, and I had a guy come up to me, and he was there with his family. He's having a good time, and he looks at my books. He ended up buying a bunch. And then he said, I heard about your books at work. And I forget where he worked, but it was kind of like a blue-collar thing. And I was shocked. Like, that to me was like really a good sign that people in South Jersey were talking about my books and, like, you know, saying to work, oh, I read this book. I mean, you should read it. It's really cool. And I met this guy, and he sold me the books and whatever. So, like, I think a lot of it is there's just a lot of crap out there that people don't want to read. And, you know, like, for me, I used to go to comic book stores all the time and buy comics, and I loved it. But now you couldn't pay me to go in a comic book store because the comics are so terrible. But if there was somebody who did a really good comic, I would go back into the store and buy it. I would have to know about it, of course. I'm out of the loop, but you know, for instance, one of my favorite comics of all time was Ben Edlund did The Tick, right? So if Ben Edlund came back to The Tick and did, like, I don't know, a 6-issue miniseries, and I got wind of it, I'd probably go right to the comic book store and order it. Or order it online or whatever, because I love The Tick. I joined the Tick fan club. I had a spoon around here somewhere at one point. So you really have to connect with people, I think, for books. And people just don't bother anymore. People just put out crap that no one wants. You know, and I meet a lot of authors, fellow authors, and, you know, they're nice guys and everything, but I see some of their books and I look at it and I go, who is this for? You know? Not that the people making the book are bad or, you know, doing it in a malicious way or anything like that. It's just that I don't know why they're making the book. Like, and then I might talk to them about the book and they're not all that excited about it. They're just kind of like, well, yeah, this is my book. I did this book because I thought it would sell. Like, that to me is like, that's not why you do a book. Like, you got to be excited by it. You got to be excited by the material and what you're trying to say and do. And if you're not, I'm not sure why you're doing it. If, like, okay, you read a lot of fantasy books and you really like fantasy, and then you write a fantasy book that's just like the fantasy books you read, what was the point exactly? You got to take it to the next step. And I don't think a lot of rookie writers really get that. It takes them years to finally get on board with that. You have to, like, you can't just write something. I mean, I used to do that when I was a kid. I started writing stuff. I tried to write a screenplay when I was like, I think it was 14 or 15. I had no idea what a screenplay looked like, so I just wrote it out. I just wrote out a description of what I thought a screenplay was. It was more like a book than it was a screenplay. And I just did characters. I didn't know about like movie rights. I just thought people wrote stories and they picked the best one. So I wrote stories. I was a big fan of Herbie the Love Bug, so I wrote a Herbie the Love Bug movie. And no, you will not see that. That will not see the light of day. But it was basically fan fiction. But I was 14, 15. I didn't know what I was doing. But that was the exercise. But I see guys, authors writing that kind of stuff. It's basically fan fiction. You know, they're really into a genre and they write something and it's really only for them. You know, it's not, they're not that excited by it, or they're too excited about it. It's either too inside or it's like not inside enough. Ardent, I've done proofreading for some real chokers. One of the reasons I keep confidentiality, I do not want to be beholden to give an opinion on someone's work if I didn't like it. Yeah, but unfortunately, you know, people will show their book to their friends. And I exhausted my friends a long time ago on reading stuff I wrote. Like, there's not a friend I have left that will go, oh, I'll read your stuff. No, I've asked them all, and they've all read stuff for me and been very nice about it, but they're all burned out. But you never get really great feedback from your friends. You have to give them a real stinker for them to go, I don't think you should publish this. You know, they want to be encouraging, so you're not going to get a great deal of feedback from that unless it's something they really know. Ardent, LOL, there's a Herbie for sale near me. Oh, cool. I mean, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of authors, just like I saw a lot of comic creators, and, you know, the comic creators would be more interested in the merchandise and, you know, working for Marvel than they were their own creation. You gotta really want this to be a writer or whatever. And now everybody wants to do it, and it's kind of exhausting being in a room with some of them sometimes, because you're trying to be nice, like, oh, that's cool. And you just, you know, some of them I want to go, yeah, that's not a good cover, or that's a dumb idea. You really should just throw that away and start over. But you can't, right? I mean, no, I wouldn't do that as a total stranger. Your friends will never do that to you. So it's really tough to get good feedback, which is why I try to talk to writers before they set out to write something. So one of the guys at the JEVS thing was an aspiring writer, and so I was trying to give him some advice, and I don't know how well it went, but he seemed to be excited. Ardent, I was going to say that your friends are good for proofreading, but not for criticism. Yeah, they're just going to say they like it. So it's really tough. But anyway, KISS members feel so blessed by Kennedy Center honor after attacking Trump as abhorrent. So they didn't like Trump, but then Trump gave him an award at the Kennedy Center. Now they're cool. And finally, Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise reportedly declines Trump Kennedy Center honor invitation over scheduling conflicts. That may be true. Or he may have looked at it as, I don't really want that award. Because what does it mean? Tom Cruise he's not an awards guy. I think there's only one award he might want, and that would be an Oscar. But even that is sort of questionable. He'll probably get the Lifetime Achievement Award one day, but if he doesn't get one for one of his performances. But The Kennedy Center thing, I never thought it was a big deal. But Trump's trying to, like, get it more Americanized. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it was enough you switched up the membership at the Kennedy Center so they weren't just relentlessly funneling more of the same BS through it. And you mixing it up a little bit is probably the best you can do. Culturally, though, the bottom line is most of the people who run award shows and things like that, institutions in art, they're old, and they're going to pick old stuff. They're going to pick stuff that was out of vogue, that was in vogue 30 years ago. And that was the hot thing. And back then it was edgy, and no one cared, or everybody said, "Oh, you." When I started working on The Simpsons for the comics, originally I was going to be hired to write the newspaper strips. And then the newspapers came back and said, "Oh, we can't run the Simpsons in our newspaper. No, that's too much. Children read these." That was real. This was like late 90s. So late 90s, the newspapers were too fancy to run The Simpsons, apparently. They didn't want a syndicated strip with The Simpsons? Who would read that? Oh, people will stop reading newspapers. Oh, heaven forfend. Ardent, one of my buddies, is a musician, and I like some of his work. Some of it isn't appealing to me, and I use one of his tunes as my intro on Saturdays, but I can't give him fair criticism because he's my friend, and B, I'm not particularly music beyond like this. I'm not particularly musical beyond I like this. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Yeah, and like, yeah, I have friends who do various things. I support them because they're my friends. You know, it would have to be, if my friend came to me with an art project. Ardent, children read newspapers? Yeah. A friend of me came to me with an art project. I would be, my default reaction would be like, "Oh, it's great. Oh, I wish you well with this," because they're my friend. I can't really give them criticism. Now, if they come to me like for writing advice and they're just starting out and they really say, no, I don't do that. Give me some real advice. Give me some real feedback. And they put themselves in the position where they're basically, well, you're the expert and I'm an idiot. Then maybe I would give them, real world advice. But it would have to be at the beginning before they got started, That's the key time, I think, to, give that advice to people. But yeah, The Simpsons, they were too precious. The newspapers were too precious for The Simpsons, so they never did the strip. I think newspapers were dying anyway by then, and ended up on the comic. And then, there's been stuff like that. So people who run those institutions, even now, even after Trump kicked a bunch of them out, they're thinking about, look who's being indoctrinated. Kiss. When's the last time Kiss had a hit? When's the last time they were relevant? They're done, in my view. So, Kiss, okay. But back in their heyday, in the 70s and 80s, they were a bit raunchy. There were news stories about, oh, who's this guy with his tongue and he spits blood? Is that what we want our children to see? They were edgy back then. Back then, they would have laughed to give Kiss an award, to give those maniacs an award, because the people doing the award ceremonies in the 70s and 80s, they were old people who were talking about stuff in the 50s and 60s still, or even earlier. So that's the way it's always been. So it's only because I'm finally 59 that I have a shot at probably being accepted by the I don't know, by the institutions that exist. That, like, at some point they're gonna go, oh yeah, that guy, I've heard of him, and he's not too edgy. If I had published the Pineys back in the '80s, I don't know what would have happened. They might have been like, oh my God, there's a demonic symbol on the first cover. We can't have that in publishing. That's crazy. And that's the way it's always worked. Although these days it's a little different, but those institutions don't even mean anything anymore. What does the institution of the Kennedy Centers mean? The Kennedy Center's going to honor me? Or Tom Cruise or whoever? Is Tom Cruise world famous? He doesn't need another award. Like, if they did it for me, I would sell a gazillion books, and that would be great for me, but they're never going to honor a guy like me. They'll honor me when I'm either dead or when I don't need the award. Like, what does like J.K. Rowling need a writing award for? She's already super successful with millions and millions and millions of dollars. She can do whatever she wants. She doesn't need anything. All she needs is a funnel for all the money that keeps coming into her place, and another safe so she could stack it up into giant piles. That's all she needs. If I had her kind of money, I wouldn't need awards either. I don't know if I would even accept an award. I think awards are stupid, generally speaking. But, if I thought an award could get me more sales, I'd go and accept it. But they give awards to people who don't need them. That was always the problem with the comic book awards, and the Eisner Awards, and the Ignatz Awards, and all these other awards. They would pick comics everybody already liked, which you could kind of understand on the one hand, but on the other hand, those comics didn't need the awards. There's a bunch of other indie comics they never heard of. They didn't get, like a handful might get the awards, but not too many. Anyhow, I'm rambling now. All right. Let's wrap this up. What did we learn today? Well, we learned a lot about Leeds Point, as always, and where it is. And we also learned that Weapons is still the #1 movie, but movies are not making a lot of money. Nobody 2 might not be so bueno. And the Fantastic Four seems to be going down the tubes, but I think it's going to make its money back. Superman, I think, will definitely make its money. I think it has. Not a lot going on in the movie world. What else did we learn? Oh, we talked about Bloodshot. I remember that. Yeah. It's still around, Valiant Comics, for some reason. For some reason, the boys continue to turn my stomach. I mean, this show, the comic was great when it came out. It was so subversive at a time when everybody, at least I, was sick of superheroes. This, I don't know what this is. Everybody on TV thinks it's cool to do a musical. It was one of the worst things I've ever heard to this day was when Buffy the Vampire Slayer did a musical episode. That was hell on earth for me. I was at a convention one time, and the guy next to me was selling DVDs of various things, including Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he played that friggin' musical on a loop all day. And I wanted to jump out a window, a high window. Hopefully beyond the sound of that Buffy the Vampire Slayer musical. None of those cast members can sing, in my view. Like, none of them. Ardent, tonight we learned that pineapple belongs on Sydney Sweeney, and no one liked pizza. And no one liked pizza in a bikini. Yes, we did learn something like that. We also learned, I think the Avengers Doomsday is doomed. I really do think this movie's doomed. But it'll be interesting to see how badly it fails. I think people are really going to be sick of superheroes when this comes out. I mean, I think this is really going to be the end. of superhero movies. Like the real end. Like, oh boy, do we have any more superhero movies in the pipeline? Yeah, we got 3. Yeah, like cancel them all kind of way. Disney especially needs to just, I don't know, reevaluate, stop and reevaluate everything. Like, how many more of these movies where they, I don't know, jam in some sort of message or take old IPs and just drive them straight into a brick wall? How many more times are they going to do this? This year was a disaster for Disney, as near as I could tell. Fantastic Four might just break even, but probably not. Ardent, I am super lag. 2 times speed is my friend. Oh no, sorry. Anyhow, I should wrap it up here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thanks for voting me up. What's going on next week? Thursday, I'll be at Jane's Tea House from 7 to 9 in Hammond Heights, New Jersey for tea time with the Jersey Devil. Tea time. Then on Saturday, if all goes well, I'll be at the New Jersey Folk Festival. That's in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Saturday, 10 to 4. I was initially scheduled to be on stage first. I get about 15 minutes. And there's a small chance Hurricane Erin will hit New Jersey that day and screw up everything. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen. The rain date is the Sunday after, so I hope that doesn't happen. Sunday, I'm supposed to be at the Peach Fest in Bridgeton for the second day. Ardent, LOL, see ya later. Alex Ogle, have a great weekend ahead, Tony and everyone. You too, Alex. Ardent, back to normal speed now. So that's what's in the week ahead. Peach Fest may delay the live stream a little bit. I think it ends at 4. I'll probably be back home in time. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Thanks for the links, Ardent. Ardent, check out my Lord of War review tomorrow. I've never seen it. Oh, that sounds like fun. Alex Ogle, set your clock to proper time at Ardent. None of the half hour off nonsense. Ardent at Alex Ogle, it's not my fault Newfoundland is a magical, mystical wonderland. All right. Oh, and Clint, tea time with the Jersey Devil. How does he take his tea? He takes it spicy. Spicy and hot. Not cold like me. Ardent, sweet as hell. Oh, there's a good one. That's a good response. Yes. So thank you all tonight for tuning in. We'll be back next week with more fun times. Joan says goodbye, everybody. And we'll see you in the next one.